Going on? Tsunami Stout here. Haven't tried this stuff before. It looked pretty good. Buddy got this for me. Thanks, John. Appreciate it. I'll check that out. It's all coffee looking. Looks like a good stout, you know? Cheers. Ah. Oh. It's a good one. Little Van Cron super clean action here. What's going on? Two down. What's going on, dude? Van Cron super clean. You know, I've been wanting this steel for a really long time. You know, back when it used to be Van Cron 40, and finally have it. Finally have it in a knife. I mean, it needs some finish grinding and all that good stuff. But pretty stoked about it. We'll talk more about it when I get a few more beers in me. But look at this, huh? What the fuck is that, huh? Looks like a big old woo. Nope. It's a what it is it shows you the angle of stuff. You put a knife in there, and it'll show you what the angle is. And the reason why that's important is because, excuse me, as it turns out, the angle is probably the most significant thing when it comes to both durability and how long the knife is going to cut. And so if you're going to be doing any testing, it's nice to have something that can measure the angle. So you stick a knife inside here. It's got a little cutout here. You can't do any kind of big chop or anything like that, but it'll show you what the angle is. You have all these reflections here. You see the faint reflections out here on the ends. That's actually where your edge angle's at. The bright reflections are just where the primary grind is at. The faint reflections on the end, that's actually where your edge angle is at right there. So it's kind of cool. You know, it's not as intuitive as you would think. If you have a convex edge, or if you have any kind of like a really rough finished edge, it's difficult to see because you're relying on the reflection. You can't tell, but this is actually, it's not a dot, it's like a square laser. It's like a square, and it's trying to reflect on the ends there. And so if you have a really coarse edge, it'll just be kind of like blurry. If your scratch pattern is not like perpendicular, then it'll make this like mustache reflection pattern on there. And if you're convex, it'll show you the reflection of where you're at on the shoulder, and then it'll show you where you're at the apex. So I've just been kind of keeping to myself with it. I've just been trying to figure out how to use this thing. You know, I realize a lot of people, you know, they come to this channel for somebody who's like an expert, and so I don't really like share with you guys unless I've like learned how to do it myself. So I'm still playing around with this. I need to make a video on it. I just haven't. I've been internalizing all the information. I haven't actually like filmed and like, oh, as you can see, like we have this type of edge, and it just I just don't usually have the time to sit there and edit every little detail. But very interesting thing nonetheless. So, you know, now when I sell my knives or whatnot, I can say, hey, it's at this angle, or hey, you know, with the geometry I have on here and with the heat treat, how hard it is, you want to stay within these angles, or depending on how you use it, you know, so it's kind of cool. I like that. I like it. Drink to that. Little another bottle of the bubbly. That's really good, man. I like that. It's about 7% on there too. Damn. Boom! Pop a top again. Set them up, my friend. Oh, yeah. Woo! Lightweight. What was that you were asking about, Mike? You were asking about niobium. What about it? Tell me. Come to me. Come to me. Whew. Who's your daddy and what does he do? What does it do? What do you think it does? Tell me. What do you think niobium does? What is it? Go on. Yeah. No, this is Pelican Brewing. This is the it's a tsunami. They call it the export stout. God damn, it's a good stout. You know, I told my buddy John that I love stouts, and he bought this for me, and so I'm really stoked about it. It hardens? No, it's a carbide former. Makes carbides like vanadium. It's like vanadium. That's what niobium's about. So it works like vanadium inside the steel. That's what it does. Yeah. Makes a carbide. Yep. I don't know. I mean, we can get into it, but it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, we start talking about it, and it's like, oh, cool. You know, now I'm gonna go buy a knife and I'll make sure it totally has niobium inside of it. It's like, nah. Don't worry about that. Yeah. It just makes hard carbides, but it's not like if the knife has niobium in it, it's like, well, it's got fucking niobium in it, so that makes it 10 times better. Just because there's so many different things that make the knife good, like the geometry, heat treat, how you're sharpening it, etc., that it's a crapshoot if you're just gonna tunnel vision in on like, does it have niobium? Yeah, Oregon beers are fucking bomb, dude. It's all about the geometry, baby. Ooh, shit. Cheers. The geometry. Ah. Woo. God damn. That's on ABL. I like it, man. I like it. Yeah, it's got niobium in it. Got some of that actually at 64. But I don't know, that's not. Woo. Oh, damn. We got a little half and half here now. Oh. I do what I can. That's on ABL. I like it. I mean, if we're talking about my knives, yeah, of course, I like it. You know, it can get really, really hard. That's very stable. You can go like super low angles and stuff on it. It's AEBL. AEBL. It's not ABL. So AEBL. What that stands for? I don't know. It's just the name of it. Whew. I'm gonna have to slow down. I'm starting to feel it. I just did the I just did the triple B. Ooh, damn, we got 3 more to go. You like MPL1 more. How do you know? You've never even had it. I mean, you can't even get it in any bar stock. Trust me, I called. They don't make it. They don't make MPL1 in bar stock. They just use it for crew clad. Yeah. I always want to call it Able, right? Just make it easy. Look at that big old frothy. Yeah, that looks like some kind of like, God, what does that look like? Root beer or something like that, huh? That's tasty. Hey, no worries, man. Yeah, I'm not trying to break your balls or anything. I just, if I see it twice, you know, I'm just like, okay, maybe he doesn't know, or it's good steel. You know, it kind of has like an aura around it, where like you have like people that are like, it's got a cult following, I'll say. In the kitchen knife world, I think it's absolutely beautiful. When it comes to like folding knives, I feel like maybe you would want a little bit more wear resistance in your pocket folding knife. Fixed blades, I mean, you can make a really durable fixed blade with geometry, with ABL, because when you're sending like impact energy through the blade, you know, it kind of connects the docks to the carbides, and ABL is super fine structured. Like, it's actually finer structured than a lot of PM steels. And I think that's really hard for people to understand. You don't need the PM steels that have low alloy because they're already fine structured. The problem is they're just not very wear resistant, and ABL is not a very wear resistant steel. I think it's really confusing for people because it's you know, yeah, the Rockwell hardness is really important, but you can have like crazy high Rockwell hardness on ABL, like 65, and it's not gonna like outcut something like 4V at 65. You know what I mean? Like the carbides will take over. Yeah. You're a fixed blade. Well, I fucking love you, dude, because all I make is fixed blades. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I like a folding blade. Like my favorite folding knife has been this Spatico K390. Oh, what the fuck? It won't play the video. Can you guys see the video, or should I restart the video? Oh my god. Whew. Just a second here. It looks like my we need to get this guy charging here. Ooh, fuck. We're getting blasted, bro. Whew. Ooh. Oh, we gotta plug in here. Got the low battery. There you go. Yeah. Oh. Oh shit! We got a full cup of beer here. All right, all right. We'll slow it down a little bit. Whew. I ain't as young as I once was. Yeah, this stuff's hitting pretty hard. You know, I guess it's like a 7% brew. That'll do a number on you, you know. That's a good stout, man. I recommend getting this stuff again. There's a hole in the top of that glass. Check this out. Look at that guy. Pretty cool, huh? Does it harden? I don't know, man. Yeah, it makes my liver harden. we gotta let the brew settle. I'm trying to think here. I'm trying to collect my thoughts here a little bit. O1, A2, D2. I prefer A2. Your thoughts? I mean, I'm thinking about it differently. You know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking about what I can heat treat those two. I think O1 will have more stability. A2 will kind of be in between, but it doesn't really get as hard. The D2 is really just kind of for toothy edges, so I don't, it can get really hard and stuff, but I don't know. You kind of want to leave like a 400 grit finish, 600 grit finish for D2 to work good. I think, I don't know. It depends on what I'm trying to do with the knife. Like if I'm trying to do like a bushcraft type knife, I want O1. I don't know, maybe like a general utility knife, maybe I would use A2 because it's kind of a blend between the two. And then maybe if I want like more of like a wear resistant hunting knife, maybe I would do D2. If I only had those options to choose from, I think that's my take on that. If I did the O1, I'd do something like a Scandi or a convex, or I can go super thin too. Kitchen knife, I do O1. Thoughts on making some straight razors? I don't know, man. I don't shave anymore. You were looking at getting some Japanese water stones, and you were looking at a Chozera from Naniwa or whatnot. What are my thoughts on that? Let me read that again. If I could only get 3, I mean, I would just do the classic, bro. I would do the 400, 1000, 3K. That's like all you need if you were looking at the Chozera. Here's the problem with the Chozera though, is that you can't really hit all the fucking crazy steel like K390 with it. I mean, you can hit ZDP 189, with that stuff, but anything with like more than 3% vanadium content inside of it, like vanadium alloy, you're gonna have problems with the Chozera. It's not that you can't get it sharp. I think that's what people get hung up on. It's that you will get more performance if you have something that has diamond to really shape through all of those carbides, So I like the Chozera. I think that's what I started with. I mean, I didn't start with it, but that's what I upgraded to. So I only make 1000 grit. It's like a 1014 micron, and that's all I'm gonna fucking do. With all of my stone knowledge and sharpening, I've been a freehand sharpener for the past 10 fucking years, and I've just been geeking on all this stuff for a long fucking time. And I felt the most important grit is 1000 grit, because that's right at this kind of like nexus, this balance point between being able to like push cut and being able to like slice and draw cut. My 1000 grit CB stone is going to be a little more biased towards slicing. It's not really like a reprofiling stone though. I designed it to have like lots of feedback. The finish of it, it's not going to give you like, oh my god, mirror finish. I think that when you're new to sharpening stuff, you're really obsessed with the mirror finish just because it looks really fucking beautiful. And technically it's sharper, but unfortunately, I mean, that's not how knives work. A knife works with cutting, and cutting is essentially when you draw the edge across stuff. So you want teeth at your edge. You can mirror polish to 1 billion grit or whatever the fuck you want to do. And technically at 1 billion grit, if you push straight down, it will meet less resistance to cleave or displace matter. The problem is when you're actually just real world cutting stuff with your fucking knife, you're actually drawing the edge across stuff. I don't care how fucking sharp or how polished you get the edge. If you just take the edge and you set your fingers on it, it's not gonna fucking cut you. You know what I mean? It takes still more weight to push, cleave, and displace matter, even with the highest of polished edges, even though that takes less weight the higher in polish you go than it does if you have something that's toothy. The problem is it's an inverse relationship, and you're trying to look for the perfect blend between the two. Now, in controlled testing, like with Catra and stuff like that, where they clamp a blade in and they have a stack of abrasive cards, and they move the blade like this, that's actually going to be more of a toothy or draw kit bias, where the toothier you get the edge, the better it's going to do on something like a Catra. Or if you cut on a rope and stuff like that, the better it's going to do. If you're cutting animal, stuff like that, where you're cutting through the hide, the better it's going to do with a toothy edge. Bushcraft, the better you're going to do with a polished edge, because you don't really slice wood as much as you just push through it, displace and cleave it, make the beautiful curls, you know. So there's no perfect edge for everything. But I felt, since in real world we don't really cut like fucking robots, you know what I mean? Like we don't like we don't like cut my hand off and put robot arms on. You know what I mean? Like we're actually doing a mix. I found in real world we're doing a mix of both push cutting and draw cutting. And so we want the ability to have some teeth at the edge so we can still have some catch and grab at the edge, some aggression. But then we also want enough polish to be able to push through stuff. And so I felt 1,000 grit was like the hallmark. From 1,000 grit, you could strop 1 micron. So between 1,000 grit stone and a 1 micron, perfect. That's what I like the most. Yeah, I was, you know, I think what sucks about being a maker, you can't really just like go out and buy knives anymore. But when I saw that Bow River for 32, and I'm a huge Phil Wilson fan, I went down and I visited him, and I had him, you know, he taught me how to do the rope cut testing and all that kind of stuff, and I got to really pick his brain about a lot of things, and I just always just worshipped Phil. You know, I think that I love that he's just focused on performance. You know, he doesn't give a fuck about how many knives he makes. He doesn't, you know, he makes them the best he can, and then when they're done, he sells them. You know, he tests them. I was just mind blown. You know, he treats each knife one by one, and they go through so much testing each blade. And then once he gets it where he feels like he likes it, he'll put the finishing work on it, and then he'll sell it. And so I really like Phil. When I saw that they made the Bow River, it has like a really thin cross section. Like for 32 bucks, I mean, I feel like that's one of the best knives you can get. You know, especially like a lot of the guys who are really going out there and doing a lot of hunting and stuff. I mean, man, you don't really have like a lot of money. You know, you're just doing what you love. You need so much other gear too. Like you need your rifle, your bullets. You know, you need your camping gear, gas for your truck. You know, time to get out there and do it. And I feel like if you just needed a knife like that Spatico Bow River, even though it's not in the most like, oh, sexy steel, it's just an HCR, like, you know, it's got the geometry it would need to cut good. You know, HCR 13 MOV, it's got a, you know, decent amount of carbide to it. You know, just because it's a cheap ass steel doesn't mean that it doesn't have what it needs to get the job done. I think the big problem with HCR 13 MOV though is that the heat treat. The heat treat is kind of shit. As a steel quality, it's not the greatest either. I mean, you take that same formula and you have an American company process that steel, they're going to probably make you a better quality steel, even with the same formulation. You know, what I found with HCR 13 MOV, I'm just not a fan of the HCR 13 MOV. Even the 9CR MOV, it doesn't fucking matter. All that stuff over there, the heat treat's not very good, just because they're really trying to just fucking bang those out at such a volume. And you know what? I would have the same problem. I would have the same problem if I was trying to make the knives at the volume they're making. 32, 35 bucks for that Phil Wilson Bow River. There's no way I could make a living making that knife, bro. Like, I'd have to be banging out so many of those. And I just think it's funny though when people do bitch about stuff, like when they get a knife like that and they're like, "Oh, it doesn't have this," and "Oh, it doesn't." It's like, fuck off, you know. what do you think you're spending $32 on it? You know, you can get a $800 custom from me or something, but I mean, fuck, that's a knife. That'll work for you. I found the 8CR13 MOV for me. The burr. So when you sharpen a knife, this is a little sharpening demonstration here. The dull knife, you have to cut a clean bevel from the shoulder to the apex. And you know you've crossed over when you get a crisp shoulder and a burr on the opposite side. And then you do the same thing on this side right here. Cut the shoulder, clean all the way through until you get a burr. That lets you know you've crossed over at the apex here. And then you go through the process of doing light strokes to clean the burr off. Until you go up, 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 until you're nice and clean. The problem with 8CR13 MOV is that it doesn't want to get rid of this little burr right here. And the reason is the microstructure that makes it up, they didn't heat treat it in a way that helps it release the burr. Technically, it would help having the microstructure they have, making it more impact, shock resistant. But if you're swinging a fucking pocket knife, I mean, I'd love to see you because I want to laugh at you. It makes a really shit sharpening edge. And so they have a lot of this really soft, gummy structure in there from how they heat treat it, just because they don't have the time to really process it to get a lot of the harder structures they could. And so it just doesn't sharpen good. That's a confusing topic for people because it grinds really easy. It grinds really easy, but the problem is getting rid of this little burr at the end is a fucking nightmare on 8CR13 MOV. It's not a bad steel. It'll get the job done. You know, I mean, listen, who you talking to here? You're talking to me. I'm the biggest fucking steel snob on the internet right now. You know, I'm probably the biggest steel snob of all time. You know, so who are you talking to, right? You're talking to me. And it'll get the job done for you. Okay, don't get me wrong. It'll get the job done for you. But here's the deal. Like, let's not get it fucking twisted here. All right. I feel it's nice to sharpen when you want to, not because you have to. And I think that's a difficult concept for people because they're like, well, I want something easy to sharpen and I want something to look. Look, man. It's nice to have something that touches up easy, but if you're really good at sharpening, it's also nice to have something that is worth the effort you put in to make a really nice edge. You know what I mean? It's nice to have something that you put some time in, you know, 15, 20 minutes, you know, 10 minutes even, to make a nice edge, and it actually holds it. It's not that it'll stay like, oh, hair whittling sharp for all time, but it's just that you don't want to be cutting something and you have to fucking stop what you're doing and physically touch up your edge. Like there's not any time for that sometimes. You know, whether you're hunting and the weather changes, you know, whether you're working and you're cutting boxes or something like that, and you have to fucking stop and touch up your edge. If your boss saw you stopping and touching up your edge, you'd be like, what are you doing, you fucking idiot? You know? Am I still doing Maximet sharpening? Not really. No. I think that I think you guys have a hard time realizing that it's just me doing this stuff. There's no backup here for me, you know? And it's if in the medical world you have triage. I'm not sure if you know what that means. Triage means you have to like focus on basically the most important things, you know? And so we have sharpening, regrinds, making custom knives. And so what's the most important thing to me? Making the custom knife. Yeah, and so I gotta focus on the most important thing, and that's gonna be making a custom knife, you know, just because if I don't do that, it's not going to be done. No one else can get a knife in Vancron. There's no way you can get a Vancron super clean knife unless you go with my bro over in Switzerland, Roman. But otherwise, I mean, this is like trailblazing. This is stuff that nobody's doing. Regrinds. I mean, I like the regrinds a lot, but I'm not in control of what the heat treat is with the regrind. And as well, I have to like explain a lot to people that are getting a regrind because they've never had anything that fucking thin before. There's no way to like describe in words what it's like to have something that fucking thin, you know. But I try to preach to people that like this is what you want, but until they get their hands on it, they don't know what they want. The whole regrind thing came from like, in fact, the whole custom knife making thing came from the fact that I was just like, this is a bummer that you can buy a cheap open nil knife for super cheap, and it has better geometry than your $300 fucking fixed blade. And I thought to myself, what kind of bullshit is that? That you can buy this cheap ass knife that has way better geometry with shitty steel and shit heat treat. Sorry, Open L, you know, it's the truth though. They don't even come fucking sharp, and they have superior geometry. They cut really good. And so I was always disappointed the fact that we can get all these really crazy steels like K390 and HAP 40 and all that shit, but the geometry was so fucking thick. You know, it was like, what's the fucking point? And listen, time out. I get it, you know. People do dumb shit with their knives. I'm not immune either. Like, I do stupid shit with my knife too, man. Like, I like to, well, you guys know, I do a bunch of dumb shit just to show what is possible. Like, I chop a nail, or I'll cut open cans and stuff like that. I mean, let's be real though. Like, a good cutting knife, don't do that shit with that knife. You know what I mean? Like, because if you're not doing that stuff with your knife, it can be that much thinner. You know, and I think that's what's difficult for people. Have you managed to play around with any Maximate cryo hardening by any chance? Look, man, like cryogenics, that's like the standard. That's not special. That's like what you should be doing every fucking time, you know? And so like the cryo itself, what you're doing with that is you're dropping down to negative 300 degrees. That's not to be confused with a sub-zero, which is like negative 100, which is from like a dry ice or acetone mixed or alcohol. The cryo is not going to, the cryo works like stropping an edge. You guys, I'm sure you've used an edge or whatnot, and you've tried to go back to stropping it, and it'll get a little bit sharper, not quite as sharp as you had it freshly off the stone and then stropped, right? So you have your edge, you come right off the stone, you strop it, you're that much sharper, okay? If you strop it, okay, then your edge goes from here, it comes duller, and then you strop it again, and maybe you come to about here. But you never come back to where you had it here. If you make a shitty edge down here, and you try to strop it, you're not going to be able to strop it back up to here. Okay, you're only going to strop to like here. Like, whoop, it's a shit edge, right? You make the sharpest edge possible off the stone, you strop it, boop, comes to here. As it dulls, you strop it again, boop, comes back to here. It never goes back up to here. You have to reshape the edge. My whole fucking point with what I just said is that cryo is like stropping. If you have a fucking shit austenizing temperature, shit tempering, shit control, shit heat treat, you can't just be like, well, I'm gonna cryo it. It's still gonna be shit. It doesn't fucking matter. Yeah. So cryo is just like putting a cherry on top of the sundae. And with me, with what I do, is fuck a stand-up practice brawl. What's up, Roman, you little fuck? I'm gonna finish my beer to you, sir. Boom! What's going on, my little Swiss bro? Roman's a good dude. I told Roman straight up, I was like, you're lucky you're so good at fucking sharpening. I would have never fucking hung out with you. Don't tell Roman, but I think he's like, I think he's just that much better at sharpening than me. He's just Roman. Roman is just this much better at sharpening than me, just that much. No, but he makes he makes the crazy polished edges, and like I look at them, I get to the point with Roman where I'm like, don't fucking show me any videos, you know, just because when I see a video of Roman when he sharpens, I have to go to my stone setup and I have to fucking, you know, sharpen it and geek out on it and shit like that. Meanwhile, I'm like, fuck, like I'm not gonna get any fucking knives done. This is bullshit. Like, fuck you, Roman. Got me nerding out on sharpening and shit. I don't have time for sharpening anymore. That's a good topic right there too. That like, a knife sharpener is a fucking knife sharpener. A knife maker is a fucking knife maker, and a knife tester is a knife tester. You can't really efficiently do all three. They're their own world, you know? Own fucking world. Get the fuck out of here, Roman. Got me geeking on stones and shit, spending money I don't have on fucking stones. Fuck off. Get out of here. I really like look down on natural stones, like natural Japanese water stones. They have like a lot of merit, but not to the things I'm really interested in. They're really good for like low alloy type steels at really high hardness, and they're fun. They're really fucking fun to use. They're just really expensive, and they're really difficult to navigate. But like talking to Roman, he had me all like fucking like he showed me his collection, like at Roman's house or whatnot. He has them inside of like a glass case, and he has like the stone set inside like a wood shelf or whatnot. And it's just like, oh fuck. And then of course Roman's like just really good at sharpening. So like he's getting all these like he can do curvy cuts in the paper towel and shit with the natural stone edge. So I'm just like, oh fuck, you know what I mean? And I think that's one of the things with you always think that like you just buy something to get better at sharpening. You know, you're always like, oh fuck. You see somebody who's really good at sharpening and you ask him, you know, you see what he's using and you're just like, oh, I just buy what he's using. Yeah. It's the same as grabbing no, I mean it's a lot more complicated than that. I mean, you gotta get a really good one. You have to like it's like having to like go in like the back alley. You've got to like talk to a guy who knows a guy, and he like gets you to some guy in a back alley, and he shows you the stone, and you just pay the money up front, and you check it out. If the place is more legit, they'll let you like borrow it for a little bit and see if you like it, and if you don't like it, you send it back to him. You know, because it's natural, so it doesn't have like the same consistency as a synthetic stone, but there's a huge difference between them. The problem why I haven't focused on natural stones is because I like steels like K390, Maximet, Rex 121. So it's useless, yeah. Sharpening. I mean, I'd like to see it. I'll tell you what, I'll fucking heat treat it for you too. I'll get that shit so fucking hard. Yeah, why don't you sharpen maggot? See, I learned my lesson when I had that Maximet knife, and I tried to prove how fucking badass I am by sharpening it with a really shitty Chinese water stone or whatnot. But a low end, a really low end one, and man, it built up a lot of fatigue. Yeah. I don't know, like I think as a sharpener, you should be very like zen, very like open-minded. You should be willing to see things and see what the benefits are of them. Natural stones have their benefit. They're just not. They're not lined up with what I like to do with knife steel, with my custom knives. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes I think to myself, like, fuck, maybe I should just use all like carbon steel at high hardness, and that way I could fuck with natural stones all day. Know anything about ocean jasper? No, fuck ocean jasper. Listen, the only natural stones that are worth the shit are Japanese water stones, man. Japanese natural water stone. That's it. Like, I know some people are really They're really fucked up on oil stones and stuff like that. I don't mean to offend anybody. I just don't like those, man. They fucking suck. Like the surgical black, the translucent Arkansas, Jasper, all that stuff. Man, fuck all that, okay? The reason why the natural Japanese water stones are so fucking sweet is because they work like a water stone, but they actually do they break down as you use them, and so they're actually splash and go. You don't have to soak them. Some maybe you do. The yellow belt, dude. Fuck off. I knew you were gonna say some shit like that. I haven't. I mean, I used one. It was really tricky to use though. Jason Stone, he lives over here by me. He let me borrow one of his Belgian cuticle stones, and he had the yellow. He let me use it for a straight razor to see if I liked it for shaving. I don't know. Like it wasn't intuitive to use. I would have to really geek out on it. I felt like he only had like a small piece of one. I felt like I needed like a bigger one, but it's like $200-300 to get a big one. So I was just like, fuck all that, you know. It felt like it made more of like a toothy finish. It didn't make like a really smooth fin. I'm a baby when it comes to shaving. I like a really smooth shave. I don't like a toothy shave or anything like that. And so I felt like the Belgian cuticle, I made more of like a aggressive shave. So I don't know. I wasn't really a fan of that. But I like the Japanese natural stones the best when it comes to natural stones, just because they have like, when you sharpen a lot, there's certain things, details you pick up on. And you know, these Japanese natural stones are splash and go. They have like this earthy smell to them, and they break down. The consistency of the finish that they leave is fucking amazing as far as that, and it still leaves you a little bit of a tooth at the edge for the grit rating that it supposedly finishes to. So I like those, but they don't work. They just don't work for K390 at 65. They don't work for Vancron Super Clean per se. Yeah. Japanese natties are the best, but I don't know, man. I can't really afford them. You know, I would love to make that my that's like its own separate hobby, and I just don't have that luxury right now. Yeah. So yeah, see, Roman. That's why I recommended the Nitro 77 to you, because I knew they didn't have the carbide volume to give you any troubles, and when I first met you, that's what you were obsessed about, and I was like, oh, he would really like that. What happened to the CBN stones? What did you say up here? Whatever happened to the bonded CBN stones you were talking about this year? Well, I was basically saying to people that I was going to launch them at Blade Show West this year. I'm all signed up for Blade Show West. I mean, it's pretty expensive. It was like $350 to get a table there. You know, I'm not complaining though. I get to see you guys. You come over, you come see me. I'll have my sharpening set up there. Come see me. You know, I'll have it all set up there. The CBNs, those are made for these type of steels. You know, I was trying to go for something that had more of like a really nice like vitrified waterstone feel, like a kingstone, stuff like that. It has a lot of feedback. I'm not going for something that has like a mirror finish. I mean, earlier in this live feed, I talked about why having a mirror finish isn't always the best of everything. It accentuates a lot of one thing, but it takes away of something from other things. And so you have like a toothy finish and a polished finish. They do different things, and they're an inverse relationship between each other. So yeah. Will they still be available after Blade Show West? Well, this first batch I'm going with, it's going to be more of a really high feedback batch. I don't know. I was really wanting to like go back and explore like the hogger stone that I've been like fucking like teasing you guys with, where I take a knife that has no edge on it from grinding off the grinder, and I set the edge on it like straight off the stone. And that's a 600 grit vitrified CBN. I really like that guy. I decided for Blade Show West that I wanted to go with 1,000 grit stone that didn't have that capability, but something that could just maintain your really thin edge geometry knives that I sell. And so that was my idea with that stone, just because I felt like it gave you the best balance between slicing, and push cutting. So I wanted to go with that. It's not going to give you the best finish. If you're looking for that, just get a different fucking stone. But I felt like the 1000 grit CBN, it had a nice feedback to it, a decent cutting speed. It's not going to like put an edge on something that doesn't have an edge. But you set the edge on that stone, you deburr the best you can, and you jump over to a 1 micron, and you're fucking set. If you're looking for something that's like, the perfect balance between slicing, where you're drawing the edge across stuff or sawing the edge through stuff, and push cutting, where you're just pushing the edge straight down, I felt like the stone that I had was like more of like, the Nexus or whatnot. The 600 grit that I had was like, the push cutting, it was like the miracle stone when it came to like, oh my god, this stone can fucking grind like a motherfucker. But when it came to actually just like push cutting, it was like it needed another stone if you wanted to progress up that. You couldn't do the 600 and really jump to a 3K. You could, but it would leave it a little bit more toothy. Versus if you did a stone in between a 600 and a 3K, you would have more of a 3K type finish. Okay, and so I just felt like, I don't know. There's no fucking answers to this stuff. If you really want to get down to it, there's no perfect solution to anything, so I don't know. But I decided on what I liked. Yeah. I decided on what I liked. I think it's really difficult to explain what's going through your head on stuff, because if you're like me, you're so fucking geeked out on all this shit, and when you get so much more control over like what you could decide, what you think people will like, it's like, fuck. I know enough to know that there's no way I can make everybody happy. But I decided that, okay, if I wanted to buy a stone from Sean, I would want something that's like about 1000 grit, so I can have something that does some push cutting, but I don't want to smooth out the teeth so much. Okay, I don't want to smooth out the teeth so much that I don't have any draw cut ability. All right. I mean, these knives are designed to be hunting knives. That's what I make. I don't make straight razors or anything like that. I make hunting style knives, and when you're going through animal hide, rough fur and stuff like that, yeah. So it is a trade-off. I think trade-off means that basically, in so many words, that it sucks at both things. But I felt like it was the best compromise between things. So I don't know. I felt like going into all of this knife stuff, it was never worth it to me to blow smoke up anybody's ass about stuff. Like, I got no problem telling somebody like, yeah, knives I make are probably not for you, or this stone's probably not going to work for you. But I could just focus on what I love, and what I like to do. And some people, they'll find merit in that, and if they don't, I'll tell them where they can go. It's fine. It's all good. You can't make everybody happy. I mean, the shit I do is pretty expensive too. I think that's something that causes me a lot of inner turmoil, because as a custom knife maker, it's not like you make a fuck ton of money. I think that when somebody sees you sell a custom knife for like $700, $800, you're like, damn, that guy must be fucking rich. But you just don't really see like the hidden costs and everything, and I've been kind of like having like a, I don't know, I've been having like a coming to Jesus moment of like, why the fuck do I use Rex 121 and 15V and all that shit? Just because I've just been like, oh my fucking god, like it's seriously pretty difficult to grind. You know what I mean? You don't really want to like share that with people, because like nobody really wants to know how the sausage is made. They just want to know like, oh dude, this guy's so fucking skilled. Like, he makes his shit look so easy. Like, damn, this guy's badass. So you don't really like want to like damage the mystique of that. But at the same time, like, it's fucking hard. That's why you don't really see knives in it, because it's like, you show that to any maker and they're gonna be like, dude, fuck that, I'm not making knives out of that shit, that's bullshit. Yeah. But I'm kind of more of a geek first and a knife maker second, and so that's why I've just been like, what brand and type of water stove do you recommend? I don't know, man. Like, depends on what steel you want to sharpen, what you want to fuck with. Depends on your budget more than anything. Uh, when I was first getting into like knife sharpening, I just felt so lost. I mean, I'm not so far removed from this stuff. I realized like you guys see me as like some type of like, oh, he's a fucking god. I don't know, man, but I remember when I was first learning all this stuff, and I was like, okay, like I want to get like a mirror finish. Can you speak on your heat treatment? Not really. I mean, I could talk about metallurgy, but I don't really want to give specifics on heat treatment because I mean, no one's paying me to like do all the shit I fucking go through to like get the heat treatment like dialed in. Like, I don't know, man. The reason why you don't really want to talk about heat treatment too much is because you focus so much on doing the best you can with the equipment you have and dialing everything in and testing it and this and that. And all that time you spend dialing in your heat treatment is time you could have been making fucking knives, you know? So while one other dude is just banging out knives, like 1,000 knives, you're making like one knife just because you were like, okay, let me double check this. Let me check my temps in my oven. Oh, let me make sure. Let me check my austenizing temperature. Make sure I'm not putting too much carbon in solution. Oh man, maybe I'm getting like retained austenite. Okay, let me test this and see how long this cut's rope. Let me check the stability on this. Does it work at this geometry or that? You know what I mean? So it's not just your heat treatment, but you're dialing in the full process and how it's sharpened and this and that. And so if you like give somebody like, okay, these are the exact numbers that make it perform good, it's like, maybe it doesn't, you know, who the fuck knows? And then you give that information out there. The guy who takes the information about the heat treatment, he's not vetting the heat treatment. He's not doing any of that crap. He's just saying, hey, everybody, I got the fucking badass heat treatment. And he doesn't, all he has to do is keep his head down, make the knives, make all the fucking money, make all the money off the sweat off your fucking back. Okay. So it's like, no, fuck off, you know? So I don't really like to talk about the details of the heat treatment as much anymore, just because it's like, listen, man, like you see these lights that are on, you see the fucking beer in my cup. That doesn't come from me fucking teaching everybody. Oh, everybody is heat treat. You give to me. Like I have holes in my shirt and shit. Like seriously, man. Like it don't make me rich. It just make me poor. You know, my job is to make the knives and make them best I can. And, you know, I'm going to geek out on all that stuff. Unfortunately, you're not going to get that from every fucking maker, just because it's really fucking expensive to do. It's really expensive to sit there and vet all your heat treat, test everything, do the best you fucking can with the equipment you have. Yeah, man. So it's like, give me the heat treat. You know, it's like, nah, fuck off. What did you fucking say? All the heat treating has been done for you. All you have to do is read the spec sheets. Darren, you're a badass custom knife maker, bro, but I completely disagree with that. I think that these spec sheets are fucked. I think the spec sheets don't take into account the edge. So hear me out. Hear me out, Darren. Because if you guys don't know who Darren Sanders is, Darren is a badass custom knife maker. He makes fucking sweet knives. But nah, I wholeheartedly disagree, sir. The reason why I disagree is because those heat treatments that they're making are not designed specifically for edge performance on a fucking knife. They're not. And so I found with a lot of steels, if I were to follow the heat treatment from the spec sheet exactly, it wasn't going to give me what I wanted. Okay, it's not as simple as like, oh, put your fucking horse blinders on, follow the heat treatment on the spec sheet, do the best you can. Like, it didn't work like that for me. I tested the edges and stuff like that, and I was like, fuck, this is a little bit more chippy. You know, this was coarsening the microstructure too much. I came into all this knife making stuff as a sharpener first. That's the most fucking important thing to me of all time, is to be a good sharpener. And so I was able to notice. I was also a knife tester before I did all this stupid shit. And so I would notice right away if something wasn't performing or was performing the way I needed it to. And so it was important to learn the metallurgy stuff to understand the microstructures I wanted to create to make the best edges that I wanted out of that given material. And so a good example of that is the Rex 121, where I was given a heat treatment for that. When you're first starting with the steel, I call it installing the steel, where it's like you're installing it. You're getting set up with it. You have to figure out what's going on with it. If you're first getting into a new steel, you have to follow the spec sheet and see what it does. Okay, that's where you go with it. You check that out, and then you see what you see from it. From there, you think about what can I do to make this better. Okay, and then so from there, like with the Rex 121 heat treatment, I did a heat treatment that was completely different from what the spec sheet showed, and I saw improvement. And so that's where I went. That's where I went with that. I saw Rex 121. I was like, you know what? This has some wear resistance and hardness to spare, but what it doesn't offer people is stability. It's not a very stable steel. And so if I follow the spec sheet, why the fuck am I coarsening the microstructure with what the spec sheet recommends to remove retained austenite with higher temper? Fuck that. So I went a different direction. You know, I put less carbon in solution. I decided to not coarsen the microstructure with the tempering that they had recommended. The spec sheet is not showing a negative 300-degree cryo. You know, they're not taking that into consideration. They're not even expecting that people are making knives out of Rex 121. So the spec sheet is not dedicated to people that are making thin edge geometry. And so following the spec sheet and then just being religious on your control, that's not the answer, I felt, to making the highest performance edge. You have to realize where I am coming from with this stuff is I'm a knife sharpener first. And then, you know, I've done knife reviewing and testing for a while, and then I got into knife making. And so if it doesn't make me happy, I can't follow a spec sheet and be like, oh, this is what the religion says and I must follow it. It's unfortunate that I know enough about the metallurgy stuff to know, how can we switch the structures around in the steel? I think that's a difficult thing for people to understand, that it's not just the Rockwell hardness that tells you what the steel can do. You can have hundreds of different variations to the microstructure at any given Rockwell hardness. You know, maybe 20 of those are good, maybe 5 of those are great. The reason why I've been getting so much into like knife testing is just because distinguishing between the ones that are good, the 20 that are good, and the 5 that are great, that's pretty difficult to do for anybody, you know. And so you need to have more control in your testing to find those differences for sure. So yeah, I don't know, you know. Look, I'm not trying to piss anybody off here. Darren's been making some fucking badass knives for a long time. I respect the fuck out of him. Congratulations, Darren, on that Ankerson buoy that you and Ankerson had made. You know, I had wanted to buy that custom from you. I still wish I could. But you know the maker's life. The maker's life is you don't really get to buy the cool knives for yourself anymore, which kind of fucking sucks a little bit. But the thing that you get out of it, I guess, is that you can make the knives and other people get to use them, and they would have never existed unless you make them. So I think that's kind of cool. Let me read that again, Darren. I didn't catch that. I mean, kind of. I mean, so Darren, I got 15V. I got 15V to 68 HRC. I mean, if the bulk of my testing has been done, the 15V protocol doesn't show it going above basically about 64, 65. And so when I showed up and I told people, hey, I got CPM 15V at 68, they were like, fuck off. What are you, some fucking charlatan? What did you quench that unicorn piss? You're a fucking idiot. You're a hack. You're bullshit. Fuck you. You know? And so I had to do a bulk of the fucking testing because I'm claiming something that's not on the spec sheet. You know what I mean? So I had to go down. I went to a local place. It's called Leeson Metallurgical. Just because even if I had a Rockwell hardness tester, like, I mean, who the fuck is going to believe your Rockwell hardness tester? You know what I mean? They're like, oh, fuck you. Your Rockwell hardness tester's off. So I went to a place. I paid $50 to get a Rockwell hardness test from a metallurgical place that does metallurgical testing, Leeson Metallurgical. And I got that. They had a digital Rockwell tester. They showed that I was basically on an average of 3 tests. I was about 67 HRC on that guy for that knife particularly. And so, and then I had to take that knife and I had to show that like at that hardness, it still wasn't like, oh, crazy brittle. The spec sheet doesn't show anything like that. You know, the spec sheet doesn't show anything like that. The data you can get from the spec sheet won't show you any of that stuff. And so what the spec sheet will show you, I felt, Darren, was that it will give you a rough idea about the steel. But if you understand how the metallurgy works as far as like, okay, you're trying to balance basically solid solution strengthening of your carbide volume. You're also trying to balance your tempered martensite matrix. You're also trying to balance how much retained austenite you have. And then you're also trying to balance your temper carbides if you're trying to go with low temper carbides or higher temper carbides that would give you precipitation hardening and things of that nature. And so all of these things have benefits and disadvantages. And you're trying to maximize all these different properties to make the best performance you're trying to seek with the knife you're trying to design. You know, like, so you have to realize I'm very biased in that I'm trying to make the thinnest, hardest, best edge holding knives possible. But to make that, I trade off the blade being able to do stupid shit like pry stuff and this and that. If I was more concerned with making a knife that didn't have as good of an edge, I could make the blade more durable to stupid shit. But I just figured, you know, with my background with knife stuff, I'm also I'm an axeman. I'm an axeman. I have good axemanship and stuff like that. And I just noticed that no matter how badass I made the knife, it was never as good as an axe. So I just always felt that a knife should be a knife and an axe should be an axe. So I don't know, you know, it gets into a lot of details, but it also gets into a lot of preference. And so I focus on what I like and what I like to do, and I give that to people. It takes me a long time to figure everything out and do it, but I do it. You know, that's not to shit on other makers that decide to go a different path. Because at the end of the fucking day, people don't realize that like knife makers have like a camaraderie with each other, just because it's really difficult to make a living making knives. And so you don't really like to like, you know, like knife makers aren't out to like shit on each other. We realize we just have differing opinions on different things that we like or whatnot. And it's not that like what we like is better than no fucking that guy. Like it's just differing opinions about what we like or whatnot. And so when you buy a knife from a custom maker, you know, you're buying that maker's knife. You know, and I'm saying that because I've got like people like, oh, this guy's not fucking doing such and such. What do you think about that? And it's like, I don't know, man. Like, what do you want? You want to buy a knife from me? You want to buy a knife from him? Like, you figure that out. So, fucking cup's empty here, boys. Woo! Look at that, Roman. That crowd super clean. Best bottle opener of all time. I've been missing comments here. I gotta look back through here. Yeah, I know, Darren. I mean, before I decided to get into knife making, like, I wanted to buy a knife for you. I never fucking followed through on that. I feel so bad about that. You know what I mean? Because now that I'm a maker, I run into the same problem where like people that come to us, Darren, you know, they're really geeked out on shit, and so I feel like they're right at the cusp of deciding to make knives themselves when they decide to buy a knife from us. And so when they finally do, decide to buy a knife from us, they're almost like, well, I'll kind of start making them myself. You know what I mean? It's just like you kind of feel like, fuck, like I'm gonna spend all that time with that customer and they're not gonna fucking buy a knife from me. Like, fuck, like it's all good though. It's whatever, you know. it's like I'm talking to myself when I'm like dealing with some of these people. You know, I could tell when somebody's about to get into knife making and they don't even know it themselves. You know what I mean? Like Banter 247, that guy's gonna start making some fucking cool knives. So I love you, Darren, man. I hope you're not offended by the fact that I never fell through on getting that fucking knife from you, man. I got into knife making myself, and I mean, I don't even need to fucking explain it to you. You know how it is, bro. Where it's just like, well, fuck. Should you eat that week? Should you buy another fucking belt? Or should you buy heat treat foil? You know what I mean? It's just like, fuck me. You know, it just, you may sell the knives for a lot of money, but the cost to make it, I think that's kind of an interesting balance. You know, I'm a newer maker. This is my first year full time, so I'm still trying to figure that out. You kind of have to balance your passion with business, you know, and we're definitely passion heavy. The first year going in here, you know, we'll have to figure out something to level off here. Got holes in my clothes, man. Ain't no way to live. Explain to us what your perfect knife is for. My perfect knife. Well, you're saying it's my perfect knife. My perfect knife, what I would like the best is I want something where the edge doesn't roll over. I can go thin as fuck on it, and it'll cut a good long while without me really having to touch it up. It won't stay murderous sharp forever, but it won't go completely dull. And so that's my idea of a perfect knife. When I sharpen that perfect knife, the perfect knife, it basically it grinds fairly easy. I never really bitch about how difficult it is to grind a knife on a stone, but later Roman, I love you, man. My Swiss bro. I take Roman under my wing. You see this, Roman? This is a wing. You're under it. Love you, dog. Yeah. Little badass sharpening fucking ninja. I could think of no better person to fucking do Vancron with than you, Roman. Yeah, thank you. Cheers! How much are my knives? Yeah, thanks, Darren. I appreciate it. Yeah, congrats on that collaboration. That's fucking sweet. That must have been good for your work. Do I make knives out of Rex? Hey, whoa! Do I make knives out of Rex 121? What are you trying to insult me here? Of course I make knives out of Rex 121. It's like getting kicked in the fucking balls every time I met one. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, the Rex 121. I just sold the Rex 121 for $800. You know, $800 for a Rex 121. It was about this big. You know, I'm not shy about that at all. Yeah. I think sometimes when you bring up the price of a knife, you know, it's difficult for somebody to like comprehend what that is. You know, you bring up the price. It's not like you're just pulling the price out of your ass. You're not like, oh, I'm gonna charge you $1 million. You know, but I think you have to respect what that steel is and what it's made out of, and how difficult it is to process that. It takes a lot more belts to grind something really, really thin. And I always felt there was no fucking point to a super steel if it's not ground thin. But the problem with why you don't see super steels ground thin is because it is just that much more difficult to grind them thin because of the cost. And yeah, don't kid yourself. There's some fucking skill involved in grinding a super steel really thin. And so you don't really see that very often. As well as, you know, yeah, makers are very timid to grind things very, very thin because it's like listen, dude, it's your fucking reputation. You think that if somebody chips a knife from doing some dumb shit that they're going to be like, oh, that was my bad. I was asking this steel to do something at this geometry that it probably wasn't designed to do. No, your normal person doesn't think like that. Your normal person, if anything chips, it's your fucking fault. It's the maker's fault. And so look, you're out here, you're trying to make a fucking living making knives, you know what I mean? It's pretty rough. Nobody needs a knife out of Rex 121. Don't fucking kid yourself, okay? And it's me kicking myself in the balls to make it. And so to me, for me to grind it thin to make it actually work really fucking good like a knife, it's gonna take away a lot of the durability factor of that blade. I put that in the hands of some fucking jackass and he's using it for a bunch of stupid shit and he chips it. Is he gonna think, okay, well it's 30% carbide bond at 70 HRC and it's 10 thou behind the edge at 15 degrees per side. I was asking a lot of shit for that, you know. So, I get it. I understand why. No, they don't say that. They say, man, Big Brown Bear doesn't know how to fucking heat treat. This knife fucking sucks. It's like, what? Fuck off. So, like, I don't know, you know, what I'm getting to, my point here is the fact of why makers don't really fuck with that shit because you really open yourself up to a lot of bullshit dealing with people. You know, I've been a knife reviewer, a knife tester, a knife sharpener, you know, for a long time. So I understand all this different stuff. But I'm also selling to people that they're just like, okay, tell me what the best steel is. And they'll hear people say, okay, well, the longest cutting steel is right. I'll take it with absolutely no consideration about what the disadvantages are to it. I'll never blow smoke up anybody's ass about like, oh, listen, fucker, you need Rex 121 from me. It's the best ever. $800. It'll cut through like space and time. Like, fuck all that shit. Like, I probably turn more people away for Rex 121 than I sell people to Rex 121. The person I sold that Rex 121 knife to $800, I mean, he knows exactly what the fuck he's getting into. He knows he can't get that knife anywhere. And he's somebody I respect a lot. I know he can handle that kind of geometry. I even did a little extra for him. I bumped it a little bit lower and all this shit. Like, and he's actually going out. He's using it. He's using it for hunting. You know what I mean? I feel like some people, you know, maybe they're just like they want it for the novelty of it, and that's fine too. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I can be like that sometimes too. But yeah, I mean, I felt like it really went to the right person. You know. So, yeah, I hope that answers that question for you. Where does K390 stand in your books out of all the super steels? I would love to experience something like that, but I spend my time broke. Like, I mean, listen, man. Like, it's not that I like. It's not that I don't feel for people that are broke. I mean, I'm fucking broke too. I think that's what gets you into making knives is the fact that you're fucking broke. I mean, when I was working as an EMT, I was probably making like 30,000 a year, and I've been doing that for 8 years. I mean, I don't come from any fucking ton of money. You know, my mom, my dad from that when I was growing up, I mean, they were making less than that. I was making more money at 30,000 a year as an EMT than my fucking whole family before me. So I think when you sell knives for a lot of money, people think that like, yeah, what a dickhead. Like that guy doesn't understand like what the common man feels. You know, I'm common as fuck. I fill my cup of beer. I wear dirty ass fucking clothes. You know, look. I know exactly where you guys come from. All right. But it's just one of those things where it is what it is. Like I won't blow smoke up anybody's ass. Like it's not that you need Rex 121 or you're not going to have a good fucking knife. Uh, but if I don't make the knife out of Rex 121, no one else will, man. I mean, I'm not trying to talk shit on any other maker or any of that shit. But listen, if I don't like follow my passion and what I feel like I don't see and what I would want myself, and I have to charge accordingly for how long it takes me to make it, then I don't know, man. You know, it's out there for somebody to buy. And I feel like this is fucking America, bro. You know? And I feel like if there's somebody out there that wants that kind of shit, you know, if there's somebody out there that wants that kind of shit, they can tell me with their money, you know? And if they don't, then fuck, I'll just have a pile of Rex 120 knives, Rex 121 knives, won't I? So it's whatever, man. I don't know. You know, I can make knives out of 52-100, but it still takes you just as much. You're still putting your best work in when you're making a fucking knife. I don't know. You know, the K390 is a lot more of a balanced material. You know, I like to give you guys journalized information about the steel, in that, like, oh, K390 fits exactly between this one and this one, but you can. There's so much variability when it comes to like the steels. Like a steel is actually like a range of properties. You know, you can have like it perform here and perform here. So it's like what was that, like a Venn diagram where they have some level of overlap. Like K390 is here, you know, Rex 121 is here. So there can be some type of overlap between them depending on what attributes you're looking to enhance between them. So I mean, I can get K390 up to 68 HRC, and I had some help from Laren Sanders, you know, to like or Laren Sanders from Laren Thomas, not. I just confused Darren Sanders with Laren, the two names together. No. So I sent some K390 to Laren, and Laren figured out a way to get that shit up to like 68. This was before I, you know, I had my own heat treat oven and shit like that, and he had fucking juiced that shit, you know, so that was fucking sweet. I haven't ground the blade yet just because I don't have enough belts right now to test it. But I mean, yeah, you can get K390 from 60 to fucking 68, and what do you want the knife to do, you know? Oh, I know you're like that, Darren. You like to, I mean, any good custom knife maker, that's what we do. You know, I think that people have custom knife makers wrong, and that they think that they can send us their designs and that us as custom knife makers will make them. That's not what a custom knife maker does. We make our own designs, and then we talk to the people that want to buy knives from us, and we try to essentially make sure that they have, you know, the knife that's within their price range. We try to make sure that they have it within, you know, what are they asking that knife to do? We try to basically use the proper steel and the proper heat treatment and geometry to make that happen for them. And geometry being number one. That's just kind of the number one thing. You know, we have customers, Darren, that come to us and they'll ask us for some fucking crazy ass steel. Yeah, and I don't even understand that question. It didn't answer it. What market do you want to capture? Take Bark River. Own a few. It's a knife. Love my Bark River knives because I created them, but you get the thickness of the stock. So, what do you mean? I don't even fucking understand what you're talking about. Like, you're gonna have to like clarify that better. You're asking basically what's so fucking special? What's so special about me and what I do? Is that what you're asking? The knife stays in its lane. It's a knife. What are you fucking talking about? Look, you comparing me to Bark River, like, you don't fucking insult me, dude. You know, those guys, God bless them, they can make more knives than I can. I'm heat treating fucking knives one by one. I'm getting people fucking steels and heat treatments they can't get anywhere. I'm giving people geometries that are thin as fuck. It cost me a fuck ton to grind these knives hella fucking thin. Everything is hand sharpened, hand done. These are all 100% handmade knives. You come to me when you want the fucking best performance edge and best performance possible if you know how to use your fucking shit. And so you're coming to me, you're asking basically, why should I come to you? Let's talk about this like we're talking about cars. You're coming to me and you're asking me, okay, I'm looking for a fucking Toyota Camry, and what do I get from you? You're talking to a fucking Lamborghini dealership, bro. I don't mean to be a dickhead here and kind of like brag, but I don't know, just don't fucking insult me here, you know? That's what you're getting. Like, come on, man. Use your fucking head. Don't fucking piss me off. What do you want? Yeah, I'll fucking tell you how it is. I'll call a spade a spade. I'll pull no fucking punches here, you know? You want the realest fucking knife experience, I'll give it to you right here. You got some asshole like me fucking grinding knives in my little dungeon eating grit all day. And if you want something you can't get, that's when you come to me. You want the biggest, dumbest, fucking clumsiest, most durable knife ever? Fucking go somewhere else, dude. I don't give a fuck. Like, there's no shortage of the most durable knife ever. I'm sorry, it's fucking true. I mean, sometimes I think to myself, why the fuck do I do what I do when I can just make, really durable knives? That's pretty fucking easy to do. I just make them thicker. I don't have to grind them as much. I just heat treat them softer. I skip the cryo. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. You fucking insult me. I don't mean to be offended by that, but at the same time, uh, you just don't know where I'm coming from, where I spend a lot of time not doing anything really fun. I spend a lot of time doing shit that fucking sucks to make these knives really good. And so when you come at me like that, it makes me, a little cantankerous. There's a little chip on my shoulder that you knocked off. I don't mean to be fucking pissed off by that, but I don't know. You just have no idea where I'm coming from either. So if you're happy with the Bark River and you don't see anything special in what I do, I don't know. I don't give a fuck. I seriously just don't give a fuck. Go get your fucking cheaper knife. I don't care, man. It doesn't hurt my feelings. There's 7 billion people on the fucking planet, and I'd be lying to myself if I'm trying to make all 7 billion people on this planet happy. Listen, you want to be yourself in this world, man. You can only be true to yourself. And to be honest, you should be pissing off more than half of the people on this planet, man. If you're really speaking your mind and speaking your fucking heart and how you feel, you should be basically making at least more than half of the people. That's 3.5 billion people fucking hate your guts. So I don't give a fuck, man. I don't know. Who cares? Yeah, I mean, listen. I'm not so far detached from the shit that I don't look. A knife is a fucking knife, dude. You know what I mean? I came at this stuff as a knife sharpener, knife tester. At the end of the fucking day, just sharpen your knife. Who the fuck cares? I think the whole thing that drove me to like liking a little more of the geek shit, a little more of the nerd shit, the stuff you can't get, is I just got bored. I was just tired of like I can't get what I want. I really want to nerd out on this stuff. I really want the best edge and all that kind of crap, but just couldn't get it. And so I put that stuff out there for some people, and it works for me just because I can't make that many fucking knives anyway. Look, they've already figured out mass production. They've already like the 20th century already came. They already figured out how to like mass produce shit. What makes you think I can like mass produce shit like some big company? I can't. I could, even if I could, it would take away from why I even like to do it. So it's just like, fuck, I don't know. Let me read back to the comments. I've just been like rambling and shit. Yeah, I didn't even like read through it. I was just saying, I didn't see anything special with Bark River. I mean, look at the price of those. I mean, like devil's advocate now, right? Like, they're selling those knives for a decent price. I bought some before I got into making knives. I bought a Bark River. I thought it was fucking sweet. I enjoyed it or whatnot. But I don't know, man. I can't really ask them to do a bunch of like crazy shit because of the volume they have to make the knives at too. So it's like, what do you want? You want a Toyota Camry or you want a fucking Lamborghini? Like, it's nothing wrong with either. And they're both on the road. There's a lot less Lamborghinis though, so I don't know. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, you make a good point, Darren. A lot of people know what they want, but they don't know what they need. I think if you're a legit custom knife maker and you're not a fucking snake oil piece of shit, then you'll tell somebody that like, hey, I know what you're asking me what you want, but really what you need is not my knife. And I'm not afraid to lose money on people as far as if I'm interviewing them and I'm talking to them and they're telling me like, hey, I'm looking for such and such, and I don't have any problem telling them like, hey man, what you need is not my knife. Like, well, here's what you need. You need such and such. Just because I mean, I can't tell you how many times there is somebody who told me something that wasn't true, and I learned they didn't realize I was really into it, and I was going to keep after it like years and years. And I came back to what I still remember what somebody said to me, and I was like, oh, they told me some bullshit. So It's always best to tell the truth with people, man. Even if it means you're not making anything off it or it's not doing anything for you, like it's whatever, man. Just fucking tell them, hey, man, you're probably not gonna like this. I know this sounds like something the coolest, and it's hyped up a lot, but you're probably not gonna like this shit. So, yeah. Yeah, whatever. A Mora and a Weddlings gets the job done. I mean, do they even make Weddlings anymore? I thought pretty much Grenfors Brooks fucking bought them out. It's not Weddlings anymore. Look, man, I have a Mora, and I spent $10 on it. It's some of the best $10 I ever bought. Uh, let's not sugarcoat it. I feel like at some point you kind of feel like, okay, because I spent so little money on this, it's the best ever. But let's be fucking real, dude. Let's be real. That fucking thing does not hold a fucking insane edge very good. It doesn't, man. The steel's so fucking soft. The microstructure is so shit. Filled with so much retained austenite. Burr comes off fucking so stubborn. Doesn't even hold that edge. You spend 30 minutes sharpening that piece of shit, fucking loses it in 5. Man, listen, man. I mean, what? The people I find that are happiest with the Moras, their Moras are dull as fuck. Like, I'm sharpening their fucking Mora. Listen, 2019, this is a year, 2019, I went on a camping trip. I sharpened 2 fucking Moras that camping trip. Okay? What the fuck? You know what I mean? They're not taking care of their shit. Well, I like Mora because it's easy to sharpen. Bro, most of these guys aren't sharpening their shit. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where, like, listen, I'm super geeked out on the sharpening. And when you're geeked out on the sharpening, you don't want to sound like a total fucking dickhead. And you don't want to be like, oh, I'm so fucking bad. I'm above all this. Fuck it, whatever. Just as long as it's sharp enough to work for you, all right? For the most part, though, sharpening is pretty anemic in the big picture, okay? So you buy this cheap ass fucking knife, you're so happy about it. It's so fucking sharp out of the box and this and that, blah, blah, blah. You can sharpen. It's easy to sharpen, blah, blah, blah. Listen, you just got into probably knives, okay? You're probably just getting into knives when you buy one of those things or whatnot. Let me tell you how this kind of progresses. You get into that knife, it's like the gateway drug. You sharpen it, you take care of it, blah, blah, blah. It's no big deal. But after a fucking while, you're just tired of always touching that knife up. You're just fucking tired of it. You can be one of those guys who's like, well, my forefathers used knives like this, and we touched them up all the time, blah, blah, blah. Look, man, you just get fucking tired of that, dude. It just gets old. It's like you put in all this effort putting this amazing fucking edge on that knife, and it dies on you. So that's when you come to somebody like me. I'm not here for people that are like super new to this stuff. I'm here for people that are like, they're already like scratching. They're like, oh, Sean, I need a fucking knife from you, dude. Oh, fuck, I got an itch. I can't itch. That's what you come to me for, What does your heat treat do that others? Well, that's a great question because it's like, well, realistically, what does that mean? Like, because to be honest, I mean, I'm not telling you that it'll fucking, well, listen, bro, you get a knife from me, you're gonna be chopping through fucking space and time. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I make it so it's just not gonna microchip from normal use. Okay. When you're talking about Rex 121, Rex 121 is here. The other steels are like here when it comes to like the maximum edge retention you can get while still being like a ferrous, like ferric out, like an iron-based steel alloy. This is like the last stop you can go before you're in the carbide, which is just like cobalt packed with like 70% tungsten carbide kind of shit. Okay. So you're asking me like, well, what do I get from you? Do I get the ability to chop through nails and all that stuff? The reason why I do all that shit is to show you that, listen, this stuff is not inherently brittle. That we can use heat treatment geometry. We can chop through nail if we so choose to do so. If I choose to make it chop through nail, I can do that for you. The problem is are you ever like with your knife and you're like surrounded by fucking nails? Are you like surrounded by nails and you're like, thank God I have this big brown bear knife and I can fight off all these fucking nails? Well, let's be fucking real. Fuck no, you're not. look, you just don't want it to chip when you're actually just cutting soft material. You know, that's all it is, man. I just try to make it more stable. You know, I think I remember when my knife I bought was like in 2009. I bought like a Shun, and I babied the fuck out of that knife, and it still just got like these little pinhead chips on the edge. That really pissed me off, you know, because I was really taking care of that knife and it wasn't taking care of me. So what does my heat treat do for you? If you take care of that knife, will take care of you. That's what my heat treat does for you. My heat treatment doesn't fucking make up for your shithead use, because I'm trying to make the knife so that it actually cuts really, really good. I can make the knife so that it holds up to shithead abuse, but it's not going to cut as good because I have to beef up geometry. How does Rex 120 affected by cold temps really good? I mean, I don't know how to answer that question, man. What are we talking about? I mean, I, my grandfather had an axe and he chopped frozen wood with it and it chipped. It was a carbon steel axe or whatnot. And I remember when I was a little boy, he told me, okay, Sean, remember when you grow up, when you have an axe, stick it in your armpit and warm it up before you chop the wood so it doesn't chip. The thing is that it's a fucking knife. We're not talking about an axe. We're not talking about impact. We're talking about cutting shit. So when you ask me that question, I don't know how to fucking answer that for you. It's cutting shit. Should you be cutting frozen shit with it? I mean, probably not. I mean, you're not really cutting frozen shit very well if you're using a knife. I grind them so fucking thin. I put in all the effort to grind them really thin so they cut really good for you. I mean, just use your common sense when it comes to cutting stuff, and it'd take good care of you. I don't know what to say. I mean, I could make them thicker so that they can cut frozen stuff really, really good at that carbide volume, but they're not going to cut normal stuff as good. So pick and choose, bro. I don't know what to say. Fucking A. Cheers! I'll spare you, fucks. Oh! Fuck you. We got more beer, but I don't know. This is probably it for me. I'm gonna get too fucking thrashed here. I'm gonna have the perfect foam. Ooh, shit. Oh, make sure I didn't miss any comments here. Yeah, guys. I mean, ask your questions. You know, I hope I don't make you guys so. I hope I don't make you guys so nervous to ask me questions. You know what I mean? Because you feel like I'm gonna fucking smash on you or anything. But just ask your question, and I'll answer. I'll try to answer it appropriately as possible. I just can't. I can't not call it how I see it. Yeah. What was your best results? With what? Cutting results. Well, Rex 121. Cutting what though? I mean, cutting rope, controlled testing, real life testing. What are we talking? You know, I think that's. So listen, direct source seafood. I'm a. It's not like I was born knowing all this stuff. What did I cut? Rope cutting. Just because that really mimics like an animal's hide, like a fur hide and stuff like that, cutting through that. Yeah. Do you have an update on the potential? I don't know. I sent everything to Sal. I haven't heard anything. I figure they're just super busy. You know, I could pester them all I want. Look, man, at the end of the fucking day, I'm trying to fucking I'm trying to survive. You know what I mean? You see that light? That light's still on. You see this cup? There's still beer in this cup. So, look, man, at the end of the day, I don't got time to worry about that shit. I got to worry about getting my fucking shit done and paying bills. Yeah. And that particular test you may have done. Look, man, in controlled testing, nothing will outcut Rex 121 if it's made out of iron and carbon and steel. Okay, iron and carbon make steel. All right, man. So nothing will outcut that just because it has 30% carbide volume. It has the highest Rockwell obtainable per se. So that's what it comes down to, man. You have the most carbides, you have the highest hardness. If you make it the thinnest, it will win. That's all it comes down to. Now, you're asking me that question because you're trying to draw from that. Okay, fuck. He's saying that what's going to be the best for me? That might not be the best for you because it will be less stable than something that has lower carbide. There's no getting around that. So then you get into like the fact, well, I want the most stable for the jump. And it's like, well, you get to the most stable material and it's not as wear resistant. It'll actually blunt smooth. So listen, man, you're fucked either way. You just kind of have to you either have to step your game up with sharpening and using it, not like a dickhead, or you're just going to have to suffer. So that's what it is. What's my favorite steel? My favorite steel to work with is the softest fucking steel possible. Sandrin knives. I don't care. Next question. Sandrin knives may have tungsten carbide. They don't have geometry though. Just having thin stock, that doesn't mean shit. It's about the behind the edge thickness, boys. And you can take cobalt and pack it with 73% carbide, but I don't know, it gets back to that same problem I was talking about with Rex 121 and why it's not the best of all time and all times to come. Is it something unique and high performance? Sure. But let me tell you something. I'm not a car guy. You give me a Lamborghini, I'd be like, man, this fucking car sucks. I think it's horrible gas mileage. Oh, the ride's so bumpy. Oh, I can't put all my groceries in the trunk. I can't go off road with this Lamborghini. I don't know. There is no best really when it comes down to it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'll keep it real as fuck with you guys though, for sure. I just feel like with this nice stuff, there's no room for bullshit. Just tell how it is. The price is what it is. The fucking steel is what it is. Because I remember when I was getting into this stuff, man, it was really hard to trust people. It was really hard to okay, where's this person coming from? Always having to think like that, and it's really taxing on your mind. So I know a lot of stuff, and I feel like it's my responsibility to be as real as possible with all of it. So that's kind of my burden in a way. My objective, don't get me wrong, is to make and sell the stuff so I can make a living. And it's not easy to make a living making knives. I've definitely been looking at it all, and I was just like, I don't know. I don't know if it's possible. Well, we'll see. Who knows? But yeah, knife my knife. Cheers. Woo. I don't know. I looked up here and I read a question. It's from MapT123. Ever played with tungsten carbide? I have a couple sand rims, which are interesting. Listen, bro. When you come to somebody who's really thinking about how this stuff works when it comes to the microstructure of steel, heat treatment, sharpening, all that shit, and you're always coming to him with what about dendritic cobalt? What about SM100 titanium alloy? What about tungsten carbide? All these alloys. Steel, I feel like, is the best performing material of all time because it has the best blend of attributes you can play with. The microstructures you can create with your heat treatment. just the principles of how you sharpen an edge, steel will always work the best. And so I felt like fucking with all these weird alloy materials was always something where like people were always just trying to nickel and dime and look for all the fucking, oh, I don't understand how this works. Let me look for another edge on making this work better. Yeah, I just felt like it was all bullshit. You know, dendritic cobalt it was wear resistant on rope cutting and stuff like that. It couldn't handle a polished edge. It was really brittle. It wasn't very hard either. It didn't have a lot of strength to the edge, so it couldn't go low angles, so it would deform. It was weird having something that could deform and be brittle. You know, titanium alloys, they don't have a lot of wear resistance, so they can have higher hardness and they can have resistance to being deformed, but they don't have a lot of wear resistance. You can have tungsten carbide that's very wear resistant, but the sharpening properties are more similar to something like ceramic, where you don't really form a burr or anything like that. You just try to sharpen your way blind until you have an apex that's sharp. You know, like I think a lot of people were having problems where they were trying to sharpen tungsten carbide materials until they had a burr. They would take the burr off, and then the apex would actually go with when you take the apex. So people always coming to me, you know, they're always like, okay, Sean's all geeked out on this shit. Like, why don't I ask him about this oddball fucking material? And people think that Rex 121 is an oddball. Rex 121 is still fucking steel. It still has the microstructure like steel. It still makes a burr. The burr still breaks off like steel. It's more prone to fatigue and it's more prone to dipshit abuse, but it's still fucking steel at the end of the fucking day. So, listen, man, you want me to be real? I'll be real as fuck with you right now. Man, fuck all that other stuff. Man, fuck all that. SM100, like, not to be rude, all right? Because, like, listen, at the end of the day, like, it's not like I've done extensive testing with SM100 or that I've done extensive test. Like, okay, I fucked with cobalt, dendritic cobalt. That kind of just fucking sucked. Tungsten carbide, I'm just not interested in it, you know? I use tungsten carbide as a drill bit, and it works good for when you're using it properly, but the moment you're not, I got some broken tungsten carbide drill bits you can check out. Like, I just don't give a fuck about it. You know, I felt like it was always like, it's like you're going and you're talking to guys who know about cars and they know about engines and stuff like that, and they know about the horsepower and all this shit. And then you're like, what about a rocket car? And everybody who's talking about cars is like, looks at that guy and they're just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, yeah, that's neat, you know, like, what are you fucking watching Ripley's Believe It or Not or something like that? I don't mean to offend the person who asked that question, because I was just like that person, you know, at a certain point in time. But like, look, man, all the geek shit, all the performance shit, it's in the range of steel. It's not in the range of all this goofball shit. I feel like you always try to nickel and dime some fucking goofball shit when you don't understand the world of steel. When you don't understand the metallurgy, you don't understand the microstructure, you don't understand all the different little nuances of sharpening and stuff like that. And you're always just trying to, like, everybody's talking about this over here, and you're thinking like, oh my God, I'm a fucking genius. I'm thinking outside the box and I got an edge on these guys, just because you don't know how to play inside the box. You know what I mean? So here's the caveat to all that stuff I just said. You know, you can't think outside the box if you don't know how to think inside the box. That's fucking serious, dude. Think about that. You can't think outside the box unless you can think inside the box. So I don't give a fuck about tungsten carbide and sanding knives and stuff, because carbides, they do a lot of good when it comes to wear resistance of the material. That's not all there is to cutting performance, though. Okay, it's a fairly complex balance that you're trying to live in when it comes to edge stability, geometry, you know, durability, toughness, you know, hardness, resistance to deforming, wear resistance, how well does it take an edge, you know, all that shit. So you bring up tungsten carbide to me, you fucking offend me, you know, because I'm focused on all that stuff. You know, I'm geeked out to this level. You know, it's what I do for a living. You know, nobody can make a living at this shit, and I'm trying to do that right now, and it doesn't make a lot of money. But listen, man, I don't give a fuck about tungsten carbide. You know, who cares? It's like you're focusing on one little tiny thing. It can only do one little. Look, you want to be the only way you can get an extreme of something is to be an extreme of something. But you can't be so extreme of something that you're no longer able to be pertinent to actual performance. And so I feel like going outside of steel is dumb as fuck. But that's my listen. You guys that are new, that are watching this channel or are watching me talk right now, that's bias. That's me. That's my personal opinion about it. You can find whatever you like, enjoy it. That's fucking fine. Just understand though, if you come to me, you step to me, you know, you're gonna have to prove what you say. And I think for a lot of people, myself included, I'm not immune to this either. We kind of choose what we want to believe in, and it's hard to break our beliefs on stuff. And a lot of people, they believe in something so strongly they cannot see anything outside of that. It's like looking at a picture that's so close to your face, you can't see any other pictures around it, you know? And listen, as much as I try to say, oh, I'm trying not to be biased, I'm biased as fuck. I like what I like. There's trade-offs and stuff, and I recognize those. And I feel like I've been doing this type of stuff for 10 years, and I've seen what I felt like was going to perform the best. It's 2019, and I feel like more than ever, with everybody being able to have their own YouTube channel or this and that, everybody's opinion is really important. At the same time, opinions are like assholes, man. Everybody's fucking got an opinion. Unfortunately, despite what mainstream media likes to tell you, not everybody's opinion matters as much. Just because it's what's your experience level? You know, what where are you coming from with that? You know, I could read for 5 minutes on the internet about something and I could be like, well, let me tell you my opinion. Or I could be doing something for 10 fucking years and I could be like, well, let me tell you my opinion. So where are we going with this? You know, I don't fucking know. This is the last beer, boys. God damn, I fucking got Dan Cron super clean for you motherfuckers, and you don't even ask me any questions about it. Look, man, I want to tell you some real shit direct. I'm going to tell you some real shit right now. Come here. I'm going to tell you some real shit. You're asking me what system. Listen, you're asking me what system is going to be best. Let me read back your question right now. As an expert sharpener, TS Prof or Wicked Edge? Look, man, you're telling me what system is going to make you a better sharpener? Neither. You're the sharpener. Make your shit fucking sharp, dude. I don't care if it's freehand. I don't care if you go out and you sharpen on a fucking brick. Like, it's you. It's you, dude. You know? That T-Prof or that Wicked Edge, it's not going to make you a better sharpener. I freehand everything, dude. I don't do the fixed angle stuff. I freehand everything. I'm a freehand knife sharpener. You said, okay, as an expert sharpener, you boxed me into things that were, I'm like, I have to do free or fixed angle. Look, man, I freehand everything. Everything's been done freehand. Now, fixed angle has advantages and freehand has advantages, and that's really difficult for people to say. Even myself, as a dickhead freehand sharpener, I think as a freehand sharpener, you have a lot of pride in that, like, fuck you, I don't need all your fucking systems, I can do all this stuff myself, you know? And so you do have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder as a freehand guy, but listen, I'm not so far removed from all this stuff that I don't see the advantages of one or the other. But I will say that the question you're asking me, I just can't freehand my hands. Like, look, man, like, you can freehand, you know? You're just not right next to me right now. I like to go to these knife shows like Blade Show West and stuff like that because I can teach people how to freehand, you know? I could show people what they don't know. It's difficult to make a video about it just because people like watch a video. I don't like to make the video about it just because, like, man, fuck, I got to deal with a bunch of shitheads. You know, every time I make a video about something where I'm speaking like my opinion, and it's an expert, it's from experience, you know. Medical condition. Okay. Well, I'm sorry, man. You know, uh, I apologize if I came off like a dickhead there. Yeah, I think about that myself too, my friend. As far as one day, yeah, okay. Well, hey, I don't know. I I don't fucking know until I ask, right? I'm reading your fucking comment on YouTube here. All right. So what system is the best? Now listen, all I can give you is my opinion. All right. All I can give you is my opinion about stuff. Wicked Edge. Okay, so you're telling me if I had to choose between a Wicked Edge and a TS Prof Russian sharpener, which one would I choose? What do I drop 700? Fuck. Listen, you don't need to drop $700 on to get something sharp. I'm gonna tell you that right now. But you're boxing yourself into that, so you're asking like whatever. They both have some advantages to them. I think the Wicked Edge might be a little bit faster. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things will get the job done, but I mean, listen, this guy, he's asking for like the TS Prof versus the Wicked Edge. The Wicked Edge and the TS Prof, I would say, yeah, they're both definitely on the higher end. I would say that the TS Prof and the Wicked Edge, the stones they come with are not great. If we're talking about sharpening stuff like K390 and things like that, they're not. The TS Prof has the advantage in that you can buy more exotic stones for it to sharpen crazy fucking steels like Rex 121 and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, you can still get the coated, plated diamond stones for the Wicked Edge, but they don't have any bonded, sexy stones for that fucking thing yet, unfortunately. Thanks, Darren. Hey, bro. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, I mean, custom knife makers, dude. We're fucking together in all this bullshit. So, thanks, Darren. Yeah, thanks for stopping in and all that shit. I really fucking appreciate it, dude. Yeah, take it easy, bro. Yeah, I hope to see you. I'm not sure if I'll make it to Blade Show, but I hope to see you at a Blade Show one day, bro. All right, take it easy, man. But the Wicked Edge, I feel like might be. I feel like that might be faster. Here's the thing: you have to learn how to use either one of those systems. Like, I think when you buy a system like that, you think that like, yeah, I'm buying the system so that I don't have to learn how to sharpen, and I can do it, and it makes it sharp for me. But no matter what you do in life, or yeah, in life, but no matter what system you buy, you're gonna have to dedicate yourself fully to it, and you're gonna have. I feel like though, if you were to be a master of the Wicked Edge and a master of the TS Prof, the, the Wicked Edge, the Wicked Edge guy would be faster. I think the one I would buy though would be the TS Prof, just because I have access to better stones, and at the end of the day, I feel like that's the most important thing to me. I feel like the Wicked Edge has a little bit more of a it's faster, so I feel like it'd be more convenient. I feel like it's a cleaner setup, and then I could like store the stones and everything. It's a very clean setup. I like that. But the TS Prof, I feel like has better stones, and so fuck all that. Yeah, yeah. I mean, because it's well, listen. The TS Prof has like Edge Pro stone. It uses the same stones as the Edge Pro, so I would, if it was me, I would choose the TS Prof. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've looked at that sharpener. I'm like, oh, that's fucking cool. But the stones it comes with are garbage. Like, just if you buy one, buy the one that doesn't come with those stones, and buy some really nice stones. Like, buy some bonded diamond stones, bonded CBN, metallic bonded, resin bonded, whatever the fuck you need. But I don't know. I'm just not a fan of the stones that any of the systems come with, whether it's Edge Pro, KME, any of that shit. Like, throw those stones away. Get the diamond or CBN stones. Unfortunately, if you're getting like the KME and the Wicked Edge, you're stuck with plated and coated stones, and so you're kind of fucked. What do you charge to reprofile a knife like a Cryogenic? I charge a lot, man. You know, it hurts me to tell people that I charge a lot. I mean, it costs me like, it's like $100, $125 to regrind a knife. And as soon as I say that, it's like, dude, fuck you. Like, that's as much as a knife fucking costs. Like, I'm not having you regrind shit. And it's like, that's okay with me. Because I'm trying to focus on making my custom knives. Like, I'm, I don't know. Like, why do I want to put in my blood, sweat, and tears to regrind the fucking knife if it's not even worth your fucking money? So fuck off, you know? I mean that in the most sincere way possible. I don't mean to piss you off, but it's for real, dude. I'll keep it real. I'm real as fuck. I don't care if I lose subscribers or lose people. It's whatever, man. You know, like I said in the beginning, like 7 billion people. If you're not pissing off at least half of those people, you're full of shit. So, yeah, man. I mean, I just had a regrind that I had to get done lately. And what was it? A Rex 45. It was a Rex 45 knife and an LC 200 end, and that was stressful as fuck. You know, like I said earlier in this video too, like when you're a custom knife maker, you want to maintain like this mystique about you, where you're like, oh my god, this guy can do it like with his eyes closed, like he's so badass at this that like, wow, like you just, yeah, of course you want to buy it from him because he's so badass, he can do this like so easy. But it's like, it's not that fucking easy. I mean, it'd be easier if I was a dumbass at making knives, you know, because I'd be like, oh, I just grind it, and oh, I could burn up the heat treat. It's no big fucking deal, blah blah blah. But I'm concerned about that. It's very stressful, you know, like you're trying to make sure you don't burn up that heat treat, and then you're giving somebody something so thin they can't perceive how thin that geometry is. I mean, I try to make an effort on this channel to give everybody dimensions on geometry. I try to tell them how thick we are at the spine, blade, behind the edge angle, because I found that was really important. You know, I could blow smoke up people's ass for sure. You know, like when I chop a nail and stuff like that. I mean, technically, I don't have to tell people what the geometry is. Like, I can just be like, oh, it's because of my magic steel and my magic heat treat. Like, oh, that's why I'm chopping through the nail. I like the transparency, though, to help the knife community advance itself, and that people can start to understand that, wow, holy fuck, like, there's a certain geometry that allows that to happen with any given steel. Like, that's amazing, you know? And that, wow, you know, like, that's really impressive. I mean, at the same time, yeah, if the heat treat was really, really shitty, it wouldn't be able to do that. But I mean, that's not really a great way to show like the difference between okay and amazing as far as for heat treat things go, because at the end of the day, it's kind of just geometry. I try to like then go from there. I try to grind the knife so thin that they actually like really, really cut, because I realize like when I make a knife cut the nail, we're not really making knives to cut nails, so like why not make it thinner so it actually cuts really good for actually cutting stuff, you know? But I don't know, man. You know, it's been kind of difficult to make videos lately, you know, just because I feel so daunted by like sharing so much with people. And I know where people are coming from when they're just kind of coming from zero. And I don't want to be so esoteric with this stuff. Esoteric meaning that I'm only talking about this like little sliver of relevant information to your normal person, that it's like it's irrelevant. You know, I don't want to be that person. You know, I want to be, I still want to be real about everything. But I don't know. When you learn a lot more, it's a blessing and a curse in that you know more, but it becomes more difficult to explain to your regular person who doesn't know as much, I feel. And so it's been interesting for sure, but it's neither here nor there. Ah. Well, that was our 6-pack here. Fucking Oregon beer, 7%. Some good shit, man. Yeah, you know, I recommend this beer. I think if you guys ever drink anything like you guys would really like this one. You know, I think fuck steel. Let's talk about a beer review here. I would say that if you guys are, there's a lot of flavor beers or whatnot. They're like, oh, chocolate stout or coffee porter or this and that. Like this is just something that just it tastes just as good as any of that flavored crap, but it still tastes like a really good beer, and it still has 7%. So that's really good, man. Like I would have never bought this beer off the shelf if I had to buy this for myself because there's nothing that really stands out to me, really. But if you guys are looking for a beer to buy, like I would highly recommend this one right here. I had a buddy buy this one for me. He told me it was fucking good. You know, I told him, oh, I love stouts, you know, and he was like, oh, you're gonna like this one. So I got this one right here, and oh, it's fucking good. Can I get your Nah, I mean, I'm just listen, man. I'm a dickhead about this shit. Like, I mean, that's something else I've been wanting to talk about in a live feed. In that, like, I get pestered a lot for like making. Oh, can you do a custom for me? You know, how do I order? And man, you know, what good is all this information I know? What good is all this information that I know if I'm not trying to like make what I know will be really good and then just put it out there to sell to pay my bill to make it, you know? So I don't really do the order stuff just because it makes this shit's not really that fun to do. I would say when it comes to making knives, you don't need the added stress of having to like meet somebody else's expectation of what they think they like. I feel like when you're making knives, it's better to meet the expectation of what you would like to see, and then you put that out there for how much it costs you to make, and then if somebody wants to buy it, they buy it. I have a really big problem, but it's a good problem to have, in that like I don't, I can't make them fast enough. I just sold a knife at Rex 121 for 800. Went to a really good guy. You know, I made sure like, hey, like, you know what you're getting into with this, right? Like this will be really good at this, but if you use it like a dickhead, like it's gonna suck really bad. You know, and he understood. He bought that knife. I mean, I sold that fucking knife in like I put it up for sale in 5 minutes. I mean, the best way to get a knife from me is on Instagram. I tried to sell a knife on YouTube. It wasn't as convenient for me. You know, it took more of my time. So yeah, I know, man. I built up that impression a little bit. I'm sorry. I just I think right now the reason why my knives aren't made to order is just because I've been working with a lot of really exotic materials that just aren't on the market right now. And I've been also trying to do a lot of testing of these materials and see what I like and see what I think about them. I think knife making is also kind of a selfish desire for myself to really see what the limit is for this shit. I know a lot about this stuff, and I really try to see like, okay, well, like, where could we go with this stuff? Like, we understand that we have these roadblocks to what we can do. Like, what benefits can we have between these? And unfortunately, if I just relied on my customers to tell me what, you know, hey man, can you make me a knife in Elmax or whatnot? They don't know that they probably don't like Elmax. They don't know that they maybe like Nitro V better. You know, they have no idea because their only experience with Elmax is what they could buy in a ZT that they like that one day. You know, maybe the only 3 steels they've ever used is 420HC, S30V, and Elmax. You know what I mean? So I think that the problem is that I've used a lot more steels than most people on this planet. You know, I've used it's not just that I've used them, but I've sharpened them all, and I've cataloged their behaviors and things that I liked, and saw that they did good, and saw that they did bad, and so when somebody comes to me and they're like, okay, well, can you make me a knife in M390 or something like that? It's like, you don't even know if you like M390, you know, and you don't realize that you're talking to somebody that can manipulate all possible factors with these materials, which made me feel, it's kind of why I've kind of stepped off on the knife steel nerd videos, where I was like breaking down my thought process on all the different steels or whatnot, is because what use was that to anybody if they, it's not like you can go to like a production knife company or anybody else and be like, hey, I want this, what Sean was talking about, or what Big Brown Bear was talking about with the steel. Like you just can't get that really. So what was the point of like giving all these people all this information that it's not like they're going to experience anyways? So I don't know. What steel am I currently producing? That's a great question. I've been producing, here's the answer I can give you is for Blade I can tell you what I'm trying to get ready for Blade Show West. For Blade Show West, I want to get ready 4 Vancron Super Clean knives. Okay, I got 6 weeks until the show. I want 4 Vancron Super Clean blades. I want a Nitrobe 77 blade, Crew Forge V. I saw that did really good in my testing, despite what it's made out of and blah, blah, blah. And I would also like an S125V and an S110V blade, perhaps. And so that's what I could tell you. You know, as far as like what blade materials do you use? A list is like this long. I really like a lot of the materials just because I see that there is no best, and I see that there's like a lot of interesting things. I don't know, like Scandi versus full flat grind microconvex. I mean, you're asking me that question under the pretext that you're using it for a type of wood. And I will say that you would, if you're using for wood, I mean, let's be honest here. There's only so many brands that are making a Scandi grind, and there's only so many brands that are making a full flat grind with a microconvex. If we're talking about a full flat grind with a microconvex, we're talking about, let's be real, a Falkleven F1. All right, 60 HRC VG10. You can get it in laminated cobalt in some models. You can get it in SG2, or what they call their 3G. If you're talking about Scandi grinds, yeah, you have a lot of options when it comes to a Mora knife, which is super cheap. You can get into some more fancy custom knives in 01. You can get a knife from my Brohan case knives and whatever fucking fancy steel you desire. When it comes to the difference between these two things or whatnot, you know, I feel like a saber grind convex is probably better. A saber grind convex is better when it comes to carving on wood. The reason why you're asking me this question is because you're wanting to carve stuff for bushcraft, for wood. Now, if you look at my knives, you can look right away and see that's a full flat grind. There's subtle convex to it, but I'm not really making these for bushcraft. Now, when I first got into this knife channel, this YouTube channel, I was super into bushcraft, but the knives I make are not really that into bushcraft, you know. As far as for like, oh, it whittles wood and batons and all this stuff, I don't really make a knife like that right now. It's not that I won't in the future. It's just that right now I'm really focused on a particular thing with steel performance and hunting knives that cut really good and with lots of carbide. Because lots of carbide doesn't really lend itself to really good bushcraft, you know. Sorry, it just doesn't. And so you're asking me the difference between a Scandinavian grind and a full flat grind. With a little bit of a convex at the end. You know, if you were to have both of those knives in your hand, you will notice that the Scandinavian grind will bite better in the wood, but you'll need a little bit more wrist control to make sure it doesn't bite too deep. You'll notice that with the full flat grind with the convex, microconvex, it will slide on the wood better, but it won't bite as deep. And so you'll have to kind of decide for yourself what you like better. Is your wrist strong enough to keep that Scandinavian grind from biting too deep? Or are you going to like something that has a more shallow bite that slides better? Now, over time, you're maintaining your knife because you're not a dickhead. when you sharpen that Scandinavian grind freehand, you're going to make a Scandivex. It's unavoidable unless you're using some type of jig. But when you make a Scandivex, over time, you're going to notice that you will have kind of a little bit of the best of both worlds to some degree. I feel still that if you have something like a full convex with a little bit of like a mid saber to low saber, maybe you might like that the best when it comes to having the best of both attributes. But you know, if you're looking at something that's more of extreme between the ability to bite and the ability to slide, then that'll be the best. But if you're looking for an extreme of on one end or the other, then maybe it won't be. Maybe it'll be the worst of both. That's the best I can answer your question. Unfortunately, fuck it, just buy both. Hey, full support from Croatia. You know, my buddy. You should buy a knife from him in Croatia. His name is Daniel Haramina. He makes Malonika Puko. He's the best knife maker in Croatia. There's some other really good knife makers in Croatia, and when I say that, that probably pisses them off, but they fucking kill themselves because Daniel Haramina, I think, is definitely the best maker in Croatia. How good is Curtis M390? Who the fuck is Curtis, dude? I don't know. No idea. I don't really make a lot of knives in M390. If you're asking purely about M390, fuck, I'm not really that big of a fan of M390. Next question. I mean, unless you reframe that question better, I don't know. Like I said, on this channel, pull no punches. If I offend you, it's good for you. Tell me again. Reframe what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're fucking talking about. How good is Curtis M390? Who the fuck is Curtis? Hey, Curtis! How good's your M390? He doesn't know. Tell me again. Ask me a different way. Curtis Custom Knives, M390. Look, how the fuck would I know? I haven't used Curtis's M390, man. I'm worried about my own knives, all right? I'm trying to make the best knives I can. Curtis is trying to make the best knives he can. I don't fucking know who the fuck Curtis is. I've never met him before in my life. I've never seen his work. I don't know. I'm not trying to be rude here. I'm not trying to be a dickhead. But listen, I feel like it's 2019 and everybody's so fucking, ooh, tiptoe, ooh, don't make sure you don't make everybody mad, ooh. Look, I don't know who the fuck that is. I don't know. What are you charging for one of those Blade Show West knives? Well, the Vancron's going to be expensive as fuck, just because, like, you would never be able to get any. Who's your favorite spoon maker? Pretty much. Who's your favorite spoon maker? Oh my god. There is no spoon. Oh my god. The Brown Bear fans are too real. They're too fucking real. We bred it into them. We weeded out all the people that aren't fans. I love it. I fucking love it. There is no spoon. I don't know. I don't know him. I'll check on him. I didn't even mean to delete your message. I'm sorry. Yeah, the fucking beer is working. I'd fucking fire the beer if it wasn't working. What the fuck? What do you think I'm drinking? Fucking White Claw over here? Jesus Christ. What do you like for EDC Ultimate Edge Retention? Well, first off, I'm not a pussy, so I don't care about how much carbide volume is in there. You know, give me Rex 121 then. Fuck it. I'm not scared. I ain't scared of shit. Give me Rex 121. You know, as far as what you're asking, as far as what you can buy, that's the pretext of what you're asking. I'm reading your mind. Ooh, this 3CR13 MOV is the cheese. Yeah, as far as if you're like cutting, ching, 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 ching. Let me touch it up. Cutting, ching, 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 ching. I'd take Maximet, you know. I think Maximet would be the king for EDC as far as one, if you know how to sharpen. I think people will buy something like Maximet because like, oh, thank God, like I can buy it and not know how to sharpen, but you should know how to sharpen if you buy something like Maximet. So one, if you know how to sharpen. Two, if you don't use your knife like a complete dipshit, then Maximet will be the best. Yeah. I prefer surgical stainless. I mean, it worked great for the fucking Civil War. So, yeah, that'd be great. But yeah, Maximet, K390. I mean, listen, man. Listen. M, your name is M, just a letter M. This channel is super geeked out on steel. Don't get me wrong, though. When it comes down to it, look, man, just get the blade you think is cool and that you like. Like, it doesn't have to be like the fucking, like, oh, Big Bear said this is the fucking coolest steel. I can only get a knife like this, even though I think it's ugly and stupid as fuck. Like, look, listen, dude. Like, just get the blade you think is fucking cool, man. All right, and just learn how to sharpen and put the right edge on there and learn how to sharpen a good edge. You're set. You're gonna be happy. Make your own opinion about stuff. You know, you're asking me about what will actually perform better. Yeah, the Maximet will fucking cut longer, but only if you're not sharpening. If you're not sharpening it like a dickhead, and if you're not using it like a dickhead, there's nothing wrong with sharpening and using like a dickhead. It's fine. What you think I was born learning how to do all this shit? I don't fucking know. I mean, ignorance is bliss, dude. I mean, if you like to just use Arkansas stones and just torque on your fucking blades all day, like that's perfectly fine. You know, don't be like, oh, he said Maximet was the best, and you go and you buy it and you fucking chowder that edge, using it like fucking complete dog shit, and you're sharpening it on fucking poo-poo. Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna like that steel too much. I mean, me personally, if I had to choose, I'd be like, fuck you all, I'm getting Maximet. I ain't scared of fuck. I don't know, man. I would say get Maximet, and a happy medium is K390. But realistically, what I'm telling you is that you can only buy Spyderco knives because no other production company will touch that shit. Yeah. Poo-poo sharpening stones win, yo. Wait a second. Oh my God. Low questions be telling me that, jokes aside, I've been liking S30V, bro. What the fuck happened to you, man? I thought you had fucking standards, dude. Oh, you've been watching this channel for how long, and you telling me you like fucking S30V? Oh, fuck, dude. Bullshit. I call bullshit. I call bullshit. I think you just like that knife you have. I don't think you give a fuck about that steel. So look, I'll tell you right now what my favorite EDC is right now. I've been rocking, because I don't make folding knives because I'm weak sauce. I only know, look, I only know how to make a fixed blade. All right, I'm not very good at it. Oh my god. Low Q. Oh, Joe Burt fucking busted your ass. He said S30V cuts air good. Oh. That's one of the best disses I've heard on S30V in a while. It cuts air good. Get it? Oh my god. You like ZDP 189? Well, yeah, I fucking like ZDP 189. Where do you get it? Japanese, they don't give a fuck about us American makers. They're like, dude, fuck those guys. This is for Japanese people only. So, I can't buy any. So, yeah, I like it, but the fuck does that mean to me? I can't get any, so what the fuck do I care? I can take other steels and make them do just as good, so fuck it. Who cares? Sorry. Being real here. Yeah, low Q, you got your balls busted. Okay. What questions? Tell me. What knife has you enthralled with S30V? I have to know. What knife is it? There's got to be a knife involved with this that's swaying your opinion towards something that's 60 HRC packed with retained austenite. That's not probably taking as good of an edge as you would probably like. Tell me, sir. Tell me what you like. It's a spoon! Do you have any thoughts on S390? Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's neat. It's like T15. It's kind of a sweet spot in between something like CPM M4 and Maximat, and so that's kind of where it, like, the balance of where it is at. You can do a lot with something like S390. If you put S390 in my hands or somebody like Roman over in Switzerland, then yeah, we can do a lot of it. Dude, fuck you, low question. You just like those knives. Those are just good knives. Like, I don't have any problem with a good knife, but listen, dude. If the steel was better, you don't like S30V. You just like those knives. Like, let's be real. I like the Spyderco sheath. I like the Capera, and I do like the Shaman as well. I actually own a Shaman, but I don't own a Capera, and I don't own a Chief just because they're an S30V. So I hope Spyderco decides to do, I don't know, some kind of sprint run in those, but we'll see what happens or whatnot. Man, fuck you guys. Let's talk about Vancron 40 or Vancron Super Clean. I put all this work into this shit. Why don't we talk about this shit? Why don't we talk about production knives on this fucking live feed? You guys can go buy those any day you want. You can't fucking buy no goddamn Vancron. Tell me, how much? Let's not talk about price right now because I'm not making like a fuck ton of them. But let's talk about the steel. Okay, so Vancron 40. Let's be real. All right. Let's let the beer talk here. So K390 is technically a little bit more wear resistant. But hey, listen, stop telling me to regrind all these fucking knives. I don't have time to regrind all these knives, okay? Look at that. What's that? Tell me what this is. Tell me. Oh, shit. Tell me what that is right there. Rexar Fabric! Oh, you did it. Brand fucking new Rex 45 military. K390, Rex 45. What's the difference between these two right here? Tell me. Tell me. What's the difference? There we fucking go. Low question. That's right. That's the only fucking reason I like this abomination of a fucking knife. Price? Don't know. Okay, tell me. Hurry. Come on, tell me. Price? Don't know. Come on. You can do better. You guys can do fucking better than that. You're smart. You're not as dumb as you look. Come on, fucking tell me. What's the fucking difference between these two? Come on, tell me. They're both fucking probably the best steels. No. They're both production knives. They're both thick. Come on. You can do better. Tell me. I'll tell you right now. Okay, let's narrow this down right now. These are both probably some of the best performance production knives you can possibly fucking get right now is K390 and Rex 45. All right. Maximet is up here. Orange is the new black. Okay, I'll take that. That's fucking cool. Nothing. Carbide volume. God damn, Josh. Fucking brilliant. Somebody look at the brain on Josh. Don't know. Only know what Steve test was K390 was better. Okay, well, fair enough. Okay. One is orange. I mean, you're not wrong. The police force for sale. Oh! Yeah, because it's a fucking backlog. And the knife is, listen, the fit and finish on this knife is not that great. It's what it is. All right, I'll tell you right now. You guys want to know? Do you want to know? I don't know. I won't tell you unless you want to know. You have to tell me. Do you want to know? Did you regrind them? You could see the fucking bevel, so no. You can see the Spatico logo too, so no. K390 has about twice as much vanadium. Yes. Okay, so you do want to know K390 has twice as much vanadium. Okay, low question. I forgive you. I forgive you for that S30V bullshit. All right, I'll tell you. If we were to just put these both into a machine, okay, listen. If we were to put both of these knives into a machine, this is not real world. This is a machine. Put both of these knives into a machine, and this machine just makes these knives cut. This one will cut longer. Now, in real world, when it comes to like, okay, which one actually sharpens a little bit easier, a little bit better? Which one takes a little bit of a really sharp edge? And which one maybe is a little, just a little bit, just a tiny bit, not like a fuck ton, but just like just a little bit more durable at the edge. Rex 45. Right. I prefer the K390 because I ain't scared of shit, and this technically cuts longer. Now that's a simplistic way of explaining it. Now let's pretend like you and me are sharpeners. Okay, we're both sharpeners. We can geek out. We can talk about this shit. Between these two right here, this one will take a little bit more of aggressive edge. You put the same edge finish on it. Like let's say we have both of these at 1,000 grit. Hey, fuck you. We're not talking about crew wear. We're talking about Rex 45 and K390. These will cut longer than crew wear. Crew wear is typically more shock resistant and stuff, but these will cut circles around K390. Sorry, fuck off. But so so the K390 will take more of an aggressive edge. If we feel the edge at the same edge finish, we'll be like, oh fuck, that's aggressive. It's just shredding into your pad when you feel it. The Rex 45 will feel a little bit smoother, a little keener. And so it's like, interesting. What do you choose between these two? You know what I mean? They're both really fucking cool. Is that making fucking sense? Pre-ordered in today. What do you think about crew? Look, man, crew wear is good. All right. So K390, Rex 45, crew wear is over here. It's not right here. Crew wear is here. Is that making sense to you, man? It's more durable. It sharpens easier. But these will cut longer. So there's no best. All right. I try to hammer that into you guys. I'm not trying to blow smoke up your. I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass. Listen. we're talking here. I fucked up a whole, hey, you guys aren't fucking listening. I fucked up a whole 6-pack for you. All right? I fucked that whole 6-pack up. I'm gonna tell you right now. I like K390 a little bit better. I think it's fucking, if I had a choice, I'd pick K390. I think it's fucking cooler. I know how to sharpen. I'm not a fucking idiot. So I think that if you know, it'll cut longer and it takes a more aggressive edge. So when I'm like lightly touching stuff at lower grit and I'm slicing, oh fuck, the K390 is so nice. I like that shit a lot. All right, come here. Wouldn't it be cool if there was something like in between K390 and Rex 45? So the more durable, it's better for harder use than wood, etc. Oh my fucking god. I mean, you can use the K390 on fucking wood. It's not gonna explode. I mean, give me a fucking break. Tell me more. Vancron. This guy, whoever the fuck just said Vancron just now, whoever the fuck, Anthony Smith is, okay, everybody else is like, Anthony Smith is like, his third eye is like, it's like open. Yes, Anthony, thank you. Anthony, I made this whole video just for you because you're the only motherfucker paying attention. Because, God, please, Lord Jesus, could we have something in between K390 and Rex 45? Yeah, Vancron technically is like in between the two, so that's why I think the Vancron's so fucking cool. The reason why that's so fucking sick is because we can go lower in geometry than we could with the K390, but we'll have more aggression and wear resistance than Rex 45. So, Sean, does that mean if I buy a knife from you in Vancron that a Spyderco will outcut it? Kill yourself. No, of course not, because I'm going to make the geometry so fucking thin that it's going to cut really, really good. And when it comes down to it, geometry, the thinnest you can go in controlled cut testing, the longest it will cut. I think the problem is, yeah, that's in controlled testing. In real world, it comes down to how good of a knife user you are. Yeah, so Anthony tries to play it all humble. He tries to say, I'm just an enthusiast. No. You're Brainiac. Oh. Shut up and take my... Vancron's got the niobium. You know, low question, if I didn't know you, I'd be like, God damn it, there's no niobium in fucking Vancron, but I know exactly what you meant by that. It's got what plants crave. It's got electrolytes. Yeah, I mean, that is kind of the problem though with being a custom knife maker is like, well, yeah, I'd love to take your fucking money, but I can't make them fast enough just because in some ways when you're just by yourself and making these knives, I mean, it's not like I have like a full team of people. It's not like I have like, oh, I've got my social media person, I've got my blade grinding person, my heat treat person, I've got all these different people specializing in all the different things. Dude, when you're a custom knife maker, it's you. It's just you. That's it. Nobody is going to help you with shit. You're just heat treating and doing all that shit. Yeah. That's why I'm going to Blade Show. Well, motherfucker, I hope you're going to Blade Show West because that's the only place you're going to fucking see me. I mean, man, I'm trying to get the Blade Show, the big one, but it's, I don't know, man, it's a lot of fucking money. And it's a lot bigger, too. I think Blade Show West, the first year was last year, is a lot smaller than the real Blade Show down in Atlanta, Georgia. But come on, I mean, what the fuck is down in Atlanta, Georgia? I mean, I feel like Portland's a little bit better, except for all the other shit that we have going on up here. Fuck. I mean, yeah. I mean, what my whole point is I'm an Oregon Sweaters fan. Yes. Where is Blade Show West and when? So Blade Show West is in Portland, Oregon at the Convention Center. It's going to be from November 1st to November 3rd. It's the first one. Gotta run, Sean. Thanks for making the time for all of us Steelers. Yes! Hey, thanks for joining me, Bert. Thanks for joining my rhetoric and all that bullshit. I appreciate you. Take it easy, man. Take care. Yeah, I mean, I don't even live in Portland proper. I mean, there's a lot of just fucking mutants and shit down there. I mean, it's a fucking freak show for sure. Just a bunch of heroin addicts and a bunch of bullshit. But it's a cool place to visit for sure. I think if you're living like really downtown Portland, then yeah, it's a shit show for sure. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I charge enough to make sure they don't like move really fast. Who the fuck needs a $800 fucking knife? I mean, let's be real. I mean, but at the same time, if you want the best personally that I feel like I can put my name on and give to you guys with what I know about all this stuff, then yeah, I mean, it's a good deal. Luck favors the quick. So what about S35VN? Fuck S35VN. Next question. Actually, I have a big sheet of S35VN, and I'm really looking to make a lot of knives out of it, just because from a maker standpoint, like S35VN is wonderful material to work with. It grinds really easy. It's fairly simple to heat treat. I can grind it before heat treat because it's not prone to warping. It's probably, from a maker perspective, it's probably one of the best steels you can make knives out of. From a performance standpoint, compared to all the other steels, I would say that it's not significant. I think it's like when you play, let's compare this to like fighting games. And if you were to play a fighting game and you were to pick a fighting character that was like really balanced between all the characters, that's like S35VN. You don't have any kind of like secret move up your sleeve or anything like that. It's just, he's a balanced character. You have to play very balanced with him. And so, yeah, Chris Reeve likes it. Look, man, I don't talk shit about Chris Reeve. I had a Chris Reeve. I thought they were fucking pretty dope, but the geometry on those is not fucking insane. It's very thick. It's very soft. It doesn't hold. He's not focused on the edge. He's focused more on the blade, and it's easier for him to manufacture. When you buy a Chris Reeve, you're getting all this like, oh, fit and finish and all that stuff. Look, it's amazing. It's difficult to do. Like, my hat's off to that shit. Realize who you're talking to, though. You're talking to like the edge freak. You're talking to the steel freak. Just because Chris Reeve uses S35VN, that doesn't mean that like, oh my god, I'm gonna suck his dick. Oh, this fucking best steel ever. Like, it's not. It's a really easy steel to work with. It's very balanced in its properties. I have a big sheet of it. I'm gonna make knives out of it. Like, look, man, it's decent. It's a good steel. It's above the average, I would say, but it's not an extreme performing steel. Let's be real. Let's be real. Seriously, let's be real. It's good though. I like it. I have a sheet of it. It's like I said, for me as a maker, it's easier for me to work with. Hinderer 20CV thoughts. You're basically asking me what I think about a steel. You're asking me what I think about a really fast car with monster truck tires. Listen, dude, nothing wrong with a Hinderer. The fit and finish is really fucking good. I've owned a Hinderer before. I can't make a Hinderer. That's pretty fucking impressive fit and finish and all that stuff. But let's be real. He's focused more on the durability side of knives. He's trying to make these knives like, you're trying to fucking do all this durability stuff. They cut like shit. And like I talked about earlier in this video, durability and cutting ability is an inverse relationship. So Hinderer is focused more on the durability side because they're like, oh, these knives are tools and blah, 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 and this and that. But look, man, if you pull your knife out of your pocket and you're gonna cut an apple or something, like you just like, I just want to cut an apple. I don't know why. It's just I got a sharp knife. I want to cut it. You use a hinderer. I mean, the only time you're gonna use a hinderer to cut an apple is if you're gonna make fucking applesauce, dude. Seriously, it's so fucking thick behind the edge and all that shit. It's no good for any like actual cutting. It's just good for like, okay, you got a sharp edge on a 2x4 and you just want it not to break and you want to use it for, hard use. Look, let's be real. Okay, let's be real. You have a really sharp edge on something that's not going to break. Your sharp edge is still going to, it's still going to go dull. It's still going to chip and all that stuff, but the blade is not going to break. So that's what you buy when you get a hinderer. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a different flavor. I focus, you got to realize who you're talking to. You're focusing on somebody who's like a Lamborghini dealer. All right, I focus on like going fast, like straight line kind of stuff, you know? Like hinderer is more focused on like, oh, I make off-road cars and stuff like that. So, you know, he makes his shit. You know, I make my shit. I can't make his shit, you know, and he probably, I don't know. He probably can't make what I do. You know, maybe he could. I don't know. Maybe it's just not very profitable for him. So I don't know. So to answer your question, what do you think about Hinderer's 20 CV? Look, man, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about it. Hinderer's 20 CV. Fuck it. What's the point of it? You're not going to get any cutting performance out of it. Is there any way? Is there any way to sharpen from a DC4 without leaving scratches? No? On the bevel, you mean? No. I mean, you could, but look at my bevel that I carry on my knife. Like, you can't see with my shitty fucking camera phone, but this bevel is not like a perfect mirror, okay? Look, man, the objective for sharpening is not to like remove all scratches till you have like a godlike mirror at your edge. You actually want a little bit of a rougher finish, but you want it consistent. Consistency is what you're looking for. You want a consistent finish with whatever grit you choose, because you do want some teeth at your edge to help it cut. So your objective shouldn't be to take a DC3 and get it without scratches. Like, what the fuck? I know you're a Lambo, but I still want to ask. I'm looking to purchase a Winkler knife, and I know it's not something you mess with, but is his heat treat as good as advertised, or is it? Look, I'm a maker, and so as a maker, makers have a code, in that we never talk shit about other makers because it's difficult to make money making knives because nobody needs them. And so Winkler, is his heat treat as good as they say? My personal opinion about Winkler knives is that the geometry is definitely as good as they say. When you're looking at why a knife failed, the first thing you need to rule out is geometry. Was the geometry too thin for what you were asking it to do? Or is the geometry too thick and it doesn't cut as good? The heat treatment doesn't do that for you. The heat treatment just makes sure it doesn't break. Heat treatment is very significant, but realistically, Winkler knives are just really fucking thick and they're durable. They're designed for like doing really durable shit. They're not designed for cutting really good. They're designed for doing like tactical shit really good. I don't make like tactical knives. I don't really give a fuck about tactical knives just because I feel like I'm just not that interested in them. I don't know. I feel like knives should be used to cut stuff. And I just don't really like that whole area of knives where like, oh, I made the best killing people knife kind of stuff. Or I made the best, durable knife. I can make the best durable knife ever. It costs me less money, and I could advertise, oh, it's heat treat and all this stuff, but it's all bullshit. It starts at the geometry, and then whatever steel you're selecting, and then how good you heat treat that steel. Okay, so you're asking me, look, good for Dan Winkler, and that his knives basically have made you feel like that it's his heat treat that's making them perform really good. That's fucking awesome. I mean, I love to be there too. But realistically, it comes down to geometry, the steel you select. First off, it comes to what job you decided that knife is going to be good for and what you're designing it for. The user you intend for them to use it for and what they're using it for. And then it comes down to the geometry you're going to select for it to perform the best. Then it comes down to what steel do you think is going to perform the best and what is going to be the most lucrative and easiest for you to manufacture whatever volume you're going to decide to make. And then it comes down to okay, I'm going to make the best heat treatment possible to synergize all of those factors. So you're basically fucking all that up and you're saying the heat treat. And so to me, you're asking an expert and I'm telling you like, fuck, you got it all fucked up. So is the heat treat as good as they say it is? It's the geometry that's doing the work for what you're asking that knife to do. What do you want? Figure out what you want. That knife isn't going to cut very good. Sorry. Can you get a mirror finish on a Falcon A1 Pro with just a Bark River black and white compound, even if it takes a lot of time? Well, you just listen, it's a dumb fucking question, but I understand that question because I was that person too. That's stupid as fuck because yeah, if it takes a lot of time, we didn't distinguish how much time we're talking. Are we talking about 10,000 years? Are we talking about 100 years? Are we talking about 50 years? I would say eventually, if I was stupid and stubborn enough, I can get a mirror polish on anything if I'm just using black and white compound and I just sit there. Let's put this in the context. The Grand Canyon, that's rock. Rock is harder than water. Yet water had made one of the biggest and deepest and largest canyons of all time in North America, and that's just water. So yeah, I could probably get a mirror finish if I just sat there for fucking ever. But why would I hate myself that much to do something so stupid? So yeah, I could, but no, don't do that shit. That's fucking dumb. Use a stone, dude. You're supposed to use a stone if you want a mirror finish. And again, mirror finish is not everything it's chalked up to be. You probably don't need a mirror finish, man. Give me a fucking break. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. I know you're better than that. I mean, you got this shit. Have you used trimmed mirror polish? Listen, bro. I've been making YouTube videos since like 2013. What is it? 2015, I think was my first video. It was a Falcon A1. That you can go back, you can look through my video feed and all that shit. You can see I had plenty of videos on how to make a mirror finish on a fucking Falcon. I've used a mirror finish. It's really good at doing certain things. It's really shitty at doing other things, But I would say that if your objective is to make a mirror finish and you're using black and white compound, you're fucked. You need stones to basically remove the factory scratches that you have on that knife and to blend it properly and make it really sharp. And then you polish the sharp edge that you set on the coarsest finish that you have. And so that's a fucked up way to look at it as far as like, okay, well, I just need to like burnish and polish as much as possible until it finishes out all the scratches. You need to go to a coarse finish, medium finish, polishing finish, and then you can jump up to the black and white compound if you so decide. Now, the problem with me saying that is that that doesn't apply to the knives I make because I'm using really fucking crazy steels, and that black and white compound, that's not going to do shit for you. When you have like plus 3% vanadium content inside the steel, you're fucked because that vanadium content is going to prevent you from having that black and white compound do anything for you because it's softer than the carbides inside the steel that are comprised at the apex. And so, no, man. Yeah, I've tried a mirror finish. I've used them. I like them in their context, but the knives I make, I don't do it. Just because I'm not making that kind of knife. Keeping it real, dude. No big deal. No big deal. Not trying to piss anybody off here. Picked up a Native 5. Any idea on how to start and finish a grind? what you need to do is basically don't use any ceramic stone. Don't use Spatico brown. Don't use anything that has ceramic in it. You don't want to go too coarse. You don't want to go to a 140 grit. I would recommend going to about a 400 grit diamond stone. It can be coated or bonded. Coated stones are cheaper. Bonded stones maybe cost a little bit more, but they'll finish better. Take out all those factory scratches. From there, you want to hit up 1,000 grit. Anything from 800 to 1,500 grit will clean up the scratches that you have from 400 grit. If you're looking for a mirror polish, you're going to take away a lot of the advantages that Maxima has to offer, and then you're going to smooth out the carbides at the apex and have the matrix take over, which is not as effective as the carbides that you're paying for inside the steel. And so if you decide, though, that you are looking for a look, then you want to go up to like 3,000 to 6,000 grit in a type of bonded stone. You don't want any kind of coated or plated stone because the diamonds are able to stick up out of the plating that they're held in, and they're able to penetrate and scratch very deep and leave you a coarser surface finish than the grit rating that the stone is offered. And that's another problem, is that people are so fixated on the grit rating when they don't realize it's actually the bonding of the stone that determines how that grit is able to interact with the bevel and leave you a certain type of finish or performance attribute that you're looking for. So my advice to you is, if you are technically looking for a mirror finish, you need basically 400,000 and 3,000 grit, and then strop to an effect. That's my advice to you. Do you need to do that? Fuck no. I recommend for Maxima, go to 1,000 grit, strop 1 micron. You'll be happy as fuck. Yeah, that's the best edge for Maxima I felt. So there you go. 1,000 grit. 91 Chazera stones are very costly. Can Shapton stones replace Chazera? Well, they're both like the same fucking price. I don't know what you mean. Shapton and Chazera are like Pepsi versus Coke. They're both cola flavored beverages and both very name brand. Some people prefer Coca-Cola. Some people prefer Pepsi. I prefer Coca-Cola, which is Naniwa. Other people prefer Shapton, which is Pepsi. And so their Shapton glass and the Naniwa Professional are very comparable. If it's not an issue, just figure out how to fucking sharpen your knife. But if you're looking at playing with steels like K390, Rex 45, S30V, all that shit, you need something that's harder than both Chazera and Shapton. You need something that's more like CVN, diamond, boron carbide, you know, things like that. You don't really want those stones for that. No, Shapton is almost half the price. Motherfucker, are we talking about Shapton glass? Shapton glass is comparable to Naniwa Pro. Okay, now Naniwa has their Naniwa Superstone, which is a tier under, and Shapton has their stone, which is also a tier under their glass stone. And so, are we comparing apples to apples or apples to oranges? Like, we're not talking about the same thing. Just because the brand says that they're making these stones, every brand makes different ranges of stones, man. So you're telling me that Shapton is half the price of Naniwa? What fucking Shapton stones are we talking about? I don't mean to offend you or piss you off or anything like that, but look, man, just got a few beers in me. I'm just gonna keep it real with you. You're talking to somebody, okay, that knows a decent amount about this stuff. I don't know everything, okay? I know a decent amount. I've been doing this kind of shit for 10 years, you know, but I'm gonna keep it real with you, all right? I'd be offending you more if I didn't, so yeah, no worry. Hey, don't be sorry. Hey, listen, I got a few beers in me, all right? I'm kind of a little bit of a cantankerous asshole when I do. I'm a little impatient. I get asked the same questions over and over again. Hey, I get asked the same questions over and over again, all right? I don't mean to be an ass, all right? I was new once too. I wasn't born knowing this stuff. I don't mean to be a dick, but I'm just trying to keep it real, you know? Inhibitions is like the truth serum, you know? Inhibitions are out. I'm just talking, you know? You're just talking to a guy in the bar. I'm just keeping it real with you. That's all. It's whatever. You don't gotta be sorry. Does naked stropping do anything? Well, yeah. Just because you're not cutting the steel doesn't mean you're not doing anything. You can bend a paperclip with your hands. Are your fingers abrasive when you bend a paperclip with your hands? No, but you're moving the metal, aren't you? I think what's difficult for people to understand is the edge that you're making is smaller than your eye can ever fucking possibly see. You know, I read an interesting article and it was something like the human eye, the smallest you can possibly see is about 40 microns, which is about the width of a human hair. A really, really thin human hair, but you could possibly see it if you got it. You have really good young eyes. I mean, I'm like 32 fucking now, so maybe I can't see 40 micron. But if you have it really close, you can see about 40 micron. The edges you're making, if they're really sharp, you know, the width of the apex you're making is about 1 micron. Ah, no big deal. 1 micron, that's not that big. Well, a red blood cell is about 8 microns. Can you see a red blood cell? I mean, I've cut myself plenty of times. I've never been able to see a fucking red blood cell. And so the actual width of the apex you're making can be about 1 micron if it's really sharp. 1,000 nanometers is 1 micron. And so if we're talking about something really, 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 really sharp, we can be talking about something like a double-edged feather razor, which is about, 300 nanometers. And we know now that 1,000 nanometers is 1 micron. And so you're asking me, does a naked strop do anything? Well, you can bend a paperclip with your hand. What you're doing with the bare leather strop is you're basically helping refine the edge that you make, because you're taking a dull edge, it looks like this, and you're cutting a bevel from the shoulder to the apex until you get a burr on one side that lets you know you've crossed over for the apex, and then you do the same thing on the opposite side so you know you've crossed over. So underneath here you have your apex, but you have this burr on here. And so you try to reduce it as much as you can on the stone until it gets smaller and smaller, but you still have this little itty bitty 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 bit right here at the very, very tip. The very, very tip right here is very, very sharp. You have this little residual amount of burr sticking straight up. And so once you get down to this point and this little itty bit of burr is really weak and really easy to move, you would use something like bare leather to clean that shit right off. And so that's what the bare leather does. It doesn't. So if we put that into context, does the bare leather do anything for you? Well, if you got a fucking shitty edge, it's not going to do anything for you. But if you're finishing a really nice edge, boop, 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 very, very, very tip, can do a lot for you. Just like how you can take a paperclip's made out of metal, and you can bend metal. Metal's fucking hard. And you can bend metal until it breaks, then yeah, bare leather can do something for you. The question is, can you do anything with that information? There you go, man. That's the answer to your fucking question. Yeah, thank you. I've stropped naked all the time. My wife is used to it now. Here's the thing. A good sharpener. Yeah. So here, let me tell you the difference between a good sharpener and a great sharpener. A good sharpener knows that, okay, I can use a strop to really refine my edge. A great sharpener knows that if I'm using a strop and I haven't really cleaned or weakened the burr off, all I'm doing is I'm boop, 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 boop. I'm straightening out this foily piece of shit edge. And so a great sharpener knows that he's not done yet. He's not satisfied with just shaving hair and cutting paper decently. He knows that there is always a burr he must fight, and that he must basically do whatever it takes to get this foily edge off the very, very tip. And so when you're using a strop, it's up to you to figure out how to use it the best. You can't use it like a crutch. use it like a dipshit, and then all you're doing is basically taking off the stone something where you still have a big foily burr, and now you're relying on the strop, and you're thinking you're going to get sharp, but all you're doing is you're straightening out this foil with the strop. You have to really put in a lot of effort on the stone to make sure that boop, 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 you're getting that burr completely removed the best you can. You can't possibly ever hope to really remove the burr completely at this level off of the stone. Is removing the burr on the wood a good technique? Fuck no. No, it's not good. It'll work if you have a really, really big burr. So here's what the pulling through the wood will do. You have this big burr, you've weakened it on the stone. Look how much bigger this burr is. You've weakened it on the stone, you've now straightened it out. When you pull it through the wood, you basically smush it down like this. This is what you're doing. You still have a sharp edge underneath here, but you smush it down right here. All right, so pulling through the wood doesn't really do shit. It will have an effect if you have a steel that's really easy to remove a burr on, and you've made a big burr, it will strip it off really easy. But if you have a steel that has a lot of retained austenite, a shit microstructure, it's more stubborn on the burr, you can't just follow the semantics of shit. And that's what a lot of decent sharpeners will do. Good sharpeners will understand. Great sharpeners know, trust nothing. Which are the best cheap stones from rush to fine finish? I'd say the Veneve diamond waterstones are the best. Now listen, I compete with Veneve. I make waterstones myself. My waterstones will be anywhere from the range of $350 to $400 for the waterstones I'm making for one grit, one stone. But at the same time, let's be real. A lot of guys maybe are just looking for, okay, fuck you, Sean. That's a lot of money. What's the cheapest stone I can get into this bullshit for? That's going to be Veneve. Veneve are made in Russia. They work basically for less money because of the currency exchange. And so for them, like the money you're paying for them is still equal to the amount of money you're paying me to make the stone, just because the currency exchange, the US dollar is worth more than the Russian ruble. And so for them, like, you can buy that stone for cheaper. Will it perform as good? Fuck no. But you asked me what the cheapest was, and yeah, that's the cheapest for sure. I think the problem with that stone though is that it'll load like a motherfucker. It's not going to cut the fastest, but as far as like, okay, that's the limitations of the stone. Maybe my skill is not at the point where like I'm worried about the limitations of the stone, but I'm more worried about my limitations, and I just need something that'll work good enough for me to get this fucking job done. Then yeah, the Veneve will get the job done for you, bro. Because you asked me what will sharpen COS, laminated cobalt special steel from Takafu metals from Japan. You can sharpen that with basically any fucking stone. The M4, depending on the hardness, will give you trouble, but technically with the amount of vanadium content inside that material, you would want something more like diamond or CBN or boron carbide to really shape that apex. You can get away with silicon carbide at low grit, but if you're looking for a medium grit finish, you need a higher hardness material to really shape it down to the lower apex radiuses. And then you asked me for M390, and yeah, you can get away with sharpening M390 on like a lower end stone, especially if you were talking about production knives that are like 57, 60 HRC. But I mean, if you were buying a knife from me and any of those steels, then yeah, you would want something like something diamond or CBN or boron carbide. So there you go, man. Hope that answered your motherfucking question. What's the best way to tell if the bird is gone before stropping? Is it viewing under magnification? I think when you're first getting started, you have to build up the ability to feel and have some like a baseline experience of what you're looking for. I think one of the difficult things for me when I was first getting into sharpening is I didn't know what sharp was. I had no baseline of like, okay, what is sharp? To me, when I was first getting started, okay, I've been sharpening pretext. I've been sharpening for 10 fucking years. I've been a freehand sharpener for 10 years. we're talking about basically the first few months when I was getting into it, the first year, etc. I didn't know what sharp was. I'd sharpen something, and if it was sharp enough to cut whatever I needed it to, it was sharp. But I want to say that there's like different levels, and at the highest, if you're really, really discerning, then yeah, you need to. It's really difficult to make sure you got rid of the burr. I want to be honest with you that even at the highest level, it's always difficult to get rid of the burr. And yeah, I mean, I would say that yeah, you could tell it maybe high magnification, especially when you're first getting started. The problem with that though is, look, let's be real. I'm sharpening a fucking knife. I need to get something done. I need to hurry up. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna fucking every time I sharpen, I'm gonna look at it with the fucking. Come on, man. That's inefficient. That's a pain in the ass. So I would say that when you're first getting started, that yeah, I use the fucking look and see, but you want to be at a point where you can just like feel the edge, okay? And you can feel if you're crisp, if you have a burr on there, you need to set that up, man, because that's just like when you're sharpening something, you can stop and feel. You're not going to be able to like every fucking time. Look, life gets in the way. You know, you've got shit to do. You've got your job. You got kids. You know, or whatever the fuck you got going on in your life. You don't always have the time to sit there and stop and like fucking let me look at the edge. Like, it's just not efficient, man. You know, you don't got to geek out on it that much. But when you're first getting started, you need to have a baseline of like, okay, what is sharp? What is not sharp? You know, maybe sharp enough to cut, but there's always, listen, there's always another level that you can take it to. So that's my answer for you, man. Hope that helped you. Oh man, listen. You just asked me if you're sharpening a convex edge for the first time, should I use a cheap knife to get used to it for the hand motion? I mean, yeah, I think if you got a really expensive knife, you're trying to look when you're talking about sharpening freehand convex knife, or we're talking about Falconevans, really. That's what we're talking about because those are really expensive. They advertise the convex symbol, so that's what people are most familiar with. So yeah, you don't really want to like fuck up your knife. You're a really expensive Falconevan, but you're not going to hurt it because you're sharpening it by hand. Okay. Now what you're going to do is you're going to do some cosmetic kind of damage to it. You're not going to like fucking hurt it, you know. But what I want to say is what you do, man. Mark the area with Sharpie, and you can see where you're taking the steel off. And when anytime you're freehand sharpening, you're adding a type of convexity to it, anyways. It doesn't matter what anybody fucking says. It doesn't matter how good you get at freehand sharpening. I'm a really good freehand sharpener. I will tell you that anytime I sharpen, the very motion of going back and forth, or the very motion of without any system helping assist and guide or fix the angle, that you are adding a type of convexity to it. And so you're convexing everything, really. It's just what degree are you convexing? Are you in control of that convex? I think that's the most important thing. You can, but it's not the way you want to go about it. So you just asked me the question. We were talking about retained austenite. Can you flip it to martensite a month or a year later after heat treat? You could, but it's not being done in a controlled manner, and so it can be converted to martensite, but it's not tempered. It's not tempered martensite. When I'm any of these knives I'm heat treating, I'm trying to get rid of retained austenite and give you guys tempered martensite because that'll make the best edge for you. You don't want retained austenite hanging around. For one, it's a softer microstructure hanging out inside of your microstructure. And then the fact that it can convert to untempered martensite, which is brittle, is not good. And so, yes, you can convert, but it's not being tempered after. And I know your next question, you're like, well, maybe, do you think I should temper it in a year from now or whatnot? Like, that's fucking stupid. Like, just, he treat it good. He treated it good the first time. Like, what are you talking about? That's fucking dumb.
Is using the Sharpie the best method to determine if you're at the desired angle, or is there a better way? Listen, bro. We could hire fucking NASA. We can get like the government on this shit. They could spend probably like $5 trillion on figuring out the best way to hold the prescribed angle down to the atomic level. Your biggest problem is not that. Your biggest problem is you're not holding whatever angle you're fucking choosing consistently. And the reason why you're not holding whatever angle you're choosing consistently is because you're not fucking doing it enough. So don't worry about that. Just put the Sharpie on the fucking blade, take the scratches off where the Sharpie. You can color in a coloring book, you can color in the lines, right? Just fucking sharpen that some bitch. Anything you do freehand is going to add some convexity to it. That doesn't mean you can't get the fucking knife sharp. This channel is living proof of the fact that you can get a knife freehand without robots sharpening. You can get anything sharp, just fucking do it, man. So yeah, that's my answer to you. Sharpie the edge, take off the Sharpie on the edge, make a burr on the opposite side. Okay, so make a burr on the opposite side, remove the burr, get the sharp edge underneath, you're done. That's it. That's a simple, that's all there is to sharpening. That's it. Just be consistent at the angles that you have, bro. And what I just told you doesn't mean you're going to be, oh my God, that was a missing piece of information. I need to be a fucking sharpening god. Your hands are stupid. You need to basically do it enough to train your hands to do it. So that's it, bro. You know, quit overthinking that bullshit. Just fucking do it. Yeah. Oh. I know from your videos you are like the A1 Pro a lot. Are you going to get a Falcon Even X series as well? Fuck no, that thing looks ugly. It doesn't. So listen, bro. I felt like the only reason why they did the F1X, A1X, all that bullshit, the biggest market that makes the most money is America. And here in America, what do we like the most? We like full fucking tang. I'm a knife maker now. I'm not a knife consumer. I actually make stuff to put out there for people to buy. Okay. So I understand that. I understand the culture of this place where I sell the knives because I'm from this fucking place. What we prize the most is a full tang knife. Now, a full tang knife doesn't mean it's indestructible, but that's just what people like. A full tang knife doesn't mean it's higher quality, any of that shit. Just people here in America like full tang. All right, so they're marketing a knife that's supposed to be super durable, survival, blah blah blah. And in the past, they've done like, okay, well, you can see the tang sticking out at the end, and blah blah blah, and blah blah. You know, listen, but it's more cost effective for them to just make a full tang knife and bolt handles on the side. It's actually a little bit more difficult, I feel like, for mass production to make a hidden tang knife like they were doing. The advantage to the hidden tang that they were doing and why they were trying to push it is the fact that you have it's warmer for your hand. And they live up in Sweden, and their marketing is like a winter survival knife and why it's stainless and blah blah blah. And that you're not going to have this cold fucking full tang sticking to your hand. You're going to have a thermal run handle wrapping around so you can put your hand on there. And so now they make a knife where they've dropped that shit. It's easier to make for them, I feel like. And they have the F1 or A1X and blah blah blah, and it's got a more Western style where it's like just handle slabs bolted onto the sides. So I don't know. I just felt like I was fucking stupid. I'm not a big fan of guards on knives either. I mean, you can tell by the knives I make. I don't make any fucking guards on the knife, just because it gets in the way of sharpening and using the knife. I feel like if you're not a fucking complete dipshit, you should be able to use a knife without a guard. I don't know. I mean, that's offended a lot of people in the past because a lot of people, they just really fixate on the fact that the guard is providing the safety for them. I think when you get older and if you're more expertise with stuff, you realize that there's a lot of stuff that's like sweaty hands, man. Oh, my hands are fucking sweaty. I can fucking, dude, just hold the fucking knife properly, bro. I don't know what to say. I mean, listen, everything in this world of ours, it's 2019. Everything is catered to the lowest common denominator. To the point where even when I'm saying this, and the fact that I make knives and I sell them, I have to say like, hey, listen, make sure you are as safe as possible. These knives are incredibly dangerous, and make sure you are definitely make sure you're wearing your helmet. Make sure you're wearing your fucking seatbelt when you're just walking outside and blah blah blah. Look, bro, like sweaty hands, all that shit. Uh, just hold the fucking knife properly, dude. I mean, how many videos have I made where I'm stabbing shit with a wet fucking handle and I'm doing just fine? Disclaimer, anybody who's watching this video who's a fucking idiot, because unfortunately, anything you do in the 21st century, anything you do in 2019, it has to be catered to the lowest common denominator. For those of you that don't know, there's no longer any thing that's weeding out people who are incapable of doing stuff and incompetent. And so you have to cater to the people who can't do stuff to the people who can. But for the people who can, what you need to know is that when you're holding a knife, these front fingers are not the sole things that are holding the knife. It's actually the back three fingers. They activate the bigger muscles in your forearm here. These front fingers don't do shit. They're just really for dexterity. And so the back three fingers are really what's holding everything, and these are just kind of holding for support. All right, so really, when you're holding a knife and you want to actually use, especially the knives I make that are thin and have a lot of control, you want to hold like this, so you have a lot of lateral control and things like that to actually hold and cut and use the knife. And so a lot of people who fear, basically, well, there's no guard and I'm scared and blah, blah, blah. I mean, they're probably not holding the knife fucking properly anyways, or they don't know how to hold the knife properly in the first place. And that's fucking tough to say. That puts me in a very precarious position. There's people been using knives for 20 years that don't know any of that shit. And they're like, well, fuck you, Sean. You don't know what you fuck you're talking about. I've been using knives for 20 years and you need a guard and blah, blah, blah. And that's a perfectly fine position to be in if you feel that way. Like everybody's got their own fucking opinion. I make stuff based off of my opinion. I don't give a fuck about that. But I've made plenty of videos. I've made plenty of videos showing that you can stab the fuck out of shit holding the knife with these three fingers. These are what are providing the grip. These three fingers, because they activate bigger muscles here. I feel annoyed talking about this because I feel like it's fucking obvious to people that are have high acumen and people who are very observant and actually go out and do shit. Unfortunately, just it's not that prevalent anymore because nobody has to rely on a knife to do anything anymore. Nobody needs a knife to do things as much as they used to back 200 years ago, 300 years ago, 100 years ago. And so this information that basically the people who back then were using the shit were like, well, why would I fucking talk about or write that stuff down? Everybody knows that. Unfortunately, flash forward to 200, 100 years into the future, most of us, I mean, it's not prevalent or pertinent to anything we do in our day-to-day lives. So why the fuck would anybody know that, really? I mean, so I can't get too upset that people don't know that. But it's the truth of the matter, and at the same time, I have to make a disclaimer, like, look, if you're incompetent or you're not able, like, stay within your boundaries and you'll never get hurt. Not everybody, I mean, yeah, there could be something to do with just having proper grip strength. If you don't have that, that's fine. I mean, but if you do, like, I don't know, listen, I'm biased. Like, I just feel like if you want me to be as real as fuck about this, like, just hold it like a fucking man. Just fucking don't be a pussy. But that doesn't work for everybody. Unfortunately, it's 2019 and we need to cater to the lowest common denominator. And that's fine, because if we have more people than have ever existed at any point in history, like, it's good to have that too. I'm not saying that I'm against overpopulation or any of that shit. Because of that, you can have more brilliant people that can exist. And the trade-off is, yeah, you'll have more you'll have more dummies out there, but whatever. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, you open yourself up to any litigation or whatnot, blah 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 bullshit by saying like, oh, we'll just have enough without a guard, just hold it properly. But there's always that one dumb fuck that can't handle his shit and he'll hurt himself and blah blah blah. And because of that, like, oh, it's not safe and blah blah. Look, man. Just fucking give me a break here. All right. If you think you need a knife for the guard, please get a knife for the guard. And fuck off this channel. Just don't subscribe right now because I can't fucking deal with you. You're too fucking. I can't handle you. You make my head hurt. Fuck off. I don't care. I don't care if we drop 1,000 subs right now. Like, just fuck off this channel. I can't handle fucking complete bleach drinking, sun gazing fucking retards. I'm sorry, man, if I offend anybody, but that's for real, man. What's your opinion on climate change, buddy? I don't know, man. Is the climate changing? Looks like it. Keep in mind, though, are we just a bunch of dumb fucking monkeys spiraling around on a ball of water and fucking atmosphere around a big ass fucking star with no control or hope of changing anything that could happen to us with any random thing that can happen, and that the only reason why we even existed this far is by pure chance? Sure. And so you want to talk about climate change? I mean, what are we in control of? I mean, if there was an asteroid coming towards this planet, we all watched that movie with Bruce Willis and shit. There's no Bruce Willis they're going to send up there to stop that asteroid from coming in and fucking us up. So I don't know, man. I'm a little bit. I guess to answer your question, I suppose I'm a little more nihilistic about that. I can't help it though. I don't know. This is based off what I did for a living in the past and stuff. And yeah, maybe they can make the Earth flat when the fucking asteroid's coming in. Maybe the flat Earthers could be right, and that way, if the Earth was flat, the asteroid could miss us. Duh. I don't know, man. It's outside my fucking pay grade, bro. It's not a good question to ask me. I don't know, man. You know, I use a lot of micarta and stuff like that. I feel like though, if I had a production company, I'd use G10 for sure, just because G10 is not as prone to like absorbing ambient moisture and relative humidity and all that stuff. It can shrink and grow and etc. I think everybody thinks that when they buy some kind of special knife, they think that anytime they buy a $200 or $300 knife from a production company, they're like, well, they went through and did every little fucking detail just for me because it's $300 and it has to be perfect. First off, you're a fucking idiot if you think about that. If you think like that, because the volume that they're churning out a production knife at isn't really impressive. And they have to factor in the fact that it can be anywhere in the world and that it can be in any environments possible, and that the complaints that they get are really loud, and that it's easy to be like, if basically a Spyderco switched to only using micarta and stuff like that, they would be like, man, fuck this is shrinking or swelling or blah, 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 this and that. And so it's just not for everybody, you know, and that if I had the same considerations to make with that kind of production volume, I'd be like, man, fuck this. I'm going to do G10 on everything, you know, because you have to figure out what's cost effective. It's difficult to make a living making knives, you know, even for a production company, they have to mitigate as much cost as possible, not because they're greedy, but just because you need to make a profit margin to keep the lights on. You know, everybody has that problem, whether it's a custom knife maker or production company. Everybody has to make these types of choices to basically keep the lights on and pay for the overhead and keep making knives. You know, a custom knife maker can do higher performance shit, but can't make volume. A production company can make volume, but can't really cater to the nuances of different things. So pick and choose with your money what you fucking want. You know, you want to spend $800 on a knife or $100 or $30 on a knife. You fucking figure that out for yourself, man. I mean, I can't answer that question for you. You know, fucking figure it out. speak on 4V, please. Well, 4V is the best fucking steel of all time. I mean, what do you want me to say, man? You know, like it has its place. You know, it can be very durable and very wear resistant. It's kind of at that sweet spot between that stuff. But if you're buying a knife from me, and I mean, I'm not catering towards the durable side of it, it can be very strong and have a decent amount of wear resistance without detriment. But when I make a knife out of 4V, I have a knife right here actually in 4V at 65 HRC, and I'm finishing up the hand sanding on it. And I'm trying to take the attributes that it has and I'm trying to maximize its cutting ability. Speak on vanadium carbide knife. I mean, vanadium is the hardest carbide former. The more you have in it, half of it, volume-wise inside of a knife, it'll make it more wear resistant. But it depends on what volume it's at inside of the knife. I think overall carbide volume will still outmatch whatever minuscule amount of vanadium carbide you have in a knife. What the vanadium carbide will do for you is essentially it will make the knife cut longer. It won't necessarily make the knife sharper. I think when people think about knife sharpness, they think about, well, if the knife is cutting effectively for me for a while, then that means it's sharper. Sharpness is a pretty specific definition of like a polished type apex, the smallest you could possibly go. And I think that's very troubling for people when they hear that maybe the sharpest isn't the best for actually whatever the fuck they're using the knife for. Because it basically for them feels like, okay, well, you're copping out. You're saying that you don't need to sharpen the knife as sharp as it could be to make it as effective. But it's not about that at all. It's just about like putting the best edge sharpness. Is sharpness subjective? Well, no. I mean, sharpness is a clearly defined thing. It's just that as a sharpener or a person who understands how things work, you need to understand that you need to put the best edge finish on as possible. I think sharpness by definition means that you're putting the smoothest, most smallest radius possible at your apex as humanly possible. The problem with that is that no matter how sharp you get the knife, it's not like I can touch my fingers and all of a sudden my finger just falls off. It doesn't work like that. For a knife to cut shit with, you need to actually draw the edge across stuff lightly. And that's what makes something cut really good. It works a lot like a saw, but at a really, 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 really fine level. And technically, for the sharpest knife possible, you kind of want basically a blend between those things where you want the ability for it to push with ease and draw with ease. To make the knife technically sharper, you need to basically smooth it out so much that you take away its ability to draw with light touch, and you make it basically push through with light touch. So your knife is so sharp that your finger will fall off in a week. Well, I wish, you know, but that's just not how that works. And I think that there's a lot of bullshit out there, and people don't know any better. Is green stopping compound useless on Maximent? Well, it's not useless, but it's just not. It's not what you want. It's not what you're looking for. I think everybody wants a black and white world to live in where it's like, well, does it work? Does it work? You know? And it's a stupid fucking question because you're basically asking like, okay, if I mix up a solution of alcohol and some other like components and put it in my gas tank, will my pistons and spark plugs still fire to make my car move? Well, yeah, but it's going to fuck up your engine over time. And that's the same way when you're talking about high carbide steels at high hardness with something that's softer and weaker like green sharpening compound. It's not that it doesn't have an effect. It's just that why are you paying for this fancy fucking thing and you're feeding it shit? Like, just use diamond or CBN, bro. Like, stop trying to force yourself to use whatever the fuck you have. If you're going to make the investment to make some higher performance fucking steel and put the effort into making a high performance edge, use the proper fucking tools, man. You know, put diamond or CBN on a stop on leather and use that. You know, quit fucking around. So you're asking me, does it work? I mean, it'll have some kind of effect, but just the same effect as like putting fucking... Just because something has an effect doesn't mean it works good. And I think that's the problem is people really want a black and white answer to something like that. It's kind of a shade of gray. Technically, though, fuck no. If you're asking me, I had a Maximet service where I would sharpen people's knives with Maximet. I would charge people $50 to sharpen their knife in Maximet. I'm charging a lot of money. I'm doing a really high quality amount of work. Would I use green compound? Fuck no. Only an idiot would use green compound on Maximet, but does it not work? Well, no, but that's a shitty question to ask. So there you go. Hope that answered that for you without pissing you off. Is S120 is 125 hard to work with? Like you mean S125V? Compared to what? What are we talking about? I mean, is it hard to work with in what context? Is it hard enough to work with to charge what I charge, or is it hard enough to work with to make it? Should it be cheap to sell the knife in it? Like, what do you mean? I don't know what the fuck your context is. I don't know. Do you make your own diamond emulsion? No. I mean, first off, there's emulsion and there's spray. I like spray better. Emulsion makes the leather stiff. Previously in this video, we talked about how it was important when you're stropping shit to basically clean off this burr sticking out that you can't get with a stone. You've worked it down. You have a little bit of burr right here. The problem with emulsion is that if you make the leather really fucking stiff, it's hard to get that little residual wire edge off. So do I make my own emulsion? No, because I don't even fucking like emulsion. I like spray, and I don't even make that. My job is to make custom knives. Making your own emulsions and sprays and stuff, that's its own job. Why would I do that to take away from what I do with the knives? You know, listen, I'm trying to make stones, I'm trying to make knives and heat treat them and grind them thin and blah 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 and do all the business shit, and I don't have time to make my own emulsions or sprays or any of that bullshit. So nah. Well, not many people work with it. I was wondering why. One, costs a fuck ton to buy the material. Two, it costs more to grind the material. Three, it's difficult to sharpen if you don't know how to fucking sharpen. Four, your customers, if they don't understand it, how to use it or how to sharpen it, then they're gonna have a pain in the ass time with it. Five, I mean, at the end of the day, like, it's not profitable to make knives out of 125V. So you have 5 reasons why you don't see S125V. It's not bullshit Candyland. There's people out here trying to make a living doing this shit. And to be honest with you, I work with all these steels, but if I had to be real with you, man, you know, I do it out of passion, but if I had to do this stuff out of strictly business, I would not touch any of those fucking skills. So there you go. Do I have a web place? Fuck no. You know how much a website costs? A lot of money. Polished edge with coarse micro bevel, good compromise between pushing and drawing? Well, no, because it's the actual apex that's doing all the work. You're just getting a cool look. You're getting a cool look. You're getting the beauty of polish, but then you're getting the toothiness and aggressiveness of a micro bevel, of a toothy. But the reason why that fucking sucks is because you're compromising your geometry. So you have a polish at this angle, your back bevel, but then you have your coarse micro bevel here. So you have, oh, this is really sharp. This is really sexy. It's polished. But then you're putting a micro bevel, make your knife cut like shit to have a toothy, so that you can have a compromise between the two. So it's not the best blend between the two. It's a compromise in itself. To cater towards having a beautiful polished edge, but then it looks like really, really cool, but then it's not performing as good as it was if it could be, if it was one or the other. So pick and choose, dude. Pick and choose, my man. Is there a good way to describe the difference between cutting performance between thin edge like yours and production edges, or is it something you just have to experience? I mean, I can explain it to you, but I feel like you would need to have it in your hand to understand it because I don't like the hype shit. You know, I can't stand it when I'm hype stuff and like I get it and it's like not what I expected, or it's like, man, this motherfucker was telling me this was like crazy, and then I get it. He put it at like 9,000 and I get it. It's like 500. You know, and I'm just like, man, fuck this guy. You know, so I would say that, yeah, the best way to experience is in your hand. But I will say, you know, I mean, I carry production knives. You know, I fuck with them and stuff like that. It's a lot more durable. You know, you see me do all kinds of crazy shit with them, durability stuff. But when it comes to like the little details you can't pick up on maybe in the video because you're just not accustomed to it. When you see me cutting like the potato and stuff like that, and it's just like it's moving through without any weight and stuff. When you're actually just using a knife like that, it's really fucking cool. I don't know. It's really nice when you have a knife. It's just trying to be a knife. You know, it's not trying to be this hard to use piece of shit. It's just trying to be a good cutting knife for people who take care of their shit and sharpen and want to cut stuff with. They're not trying to like, yeah, fucking bludgeon everything, you know. So I don't know, man. Just if you get a chance to pick one up, just try it out if you're open to it. Yeah, your open else have only one. So this guy said, are there any production knives with a single bevel? I swear my open else have only one bevel. Listen, bro, they only have one bevel because they do the shittiest job possible of sharpening that thing. I've checked, like, I used to work at a place that sold open L's, and I had the opportunity to like pull an open L out and feel the edges. They all had a burr on one side or the other. So yeah, they're single bevel, all right, bro. Well, they're not sharp. They're just really thin. They fucking suck. But hey, what are you gonna? Hey, we're gonna talk shit about a $15 knife? You get what you fucking pay for, huh? It's not a big deal if you know how to sharpen, bro. Oh, whatever. It's whatever. They cut decently. Is an open L the best knife ever? The heat treat, the steel, but the geometry, hey. The edge, pick and choose what you want, dude. It's whatever. If you like that shit, I got no problem with it. I don't care. But me personally, you don't see me making open L's, do you? M390 versus M4. I mean, what are we talking about? Are we talking about a custom knife or are we talking about a production knife? Production knife, differences are marginal. The only difference you'll notice is that M390 will not rust as much. M4 will. M390, the burr will come off easier. M4, the burr will be more stubborn on a production knife. Edge holding will be fairly similar. Maybe the edge taking ability on M4 maybe have a slight advantage, but otherwise, who the fuck cares? Custom knife, you can have a huge variability. If you're buying a knife from me, M390 versus M4, neither. Yeah, ask away, ask away. Again, listen, you guys need it real, you know? Like, you guys need me to keep it real. Not here to piss anybody off. I'm not here to come off as like a dickhead or anything like that. Like, just keeping it real, you know? You guys, I feel like in the community, everybody's afraid of pissing everybody off, you know, they're afraid of like, you know, got to sugarcoat everything and all that stuff. Look, just keeping it real, all right? You like what you like, that's completely fine. You know, we'll keep this live feed up. In terms of geometry, what's your opinion about the Manly Wasp? Well, I'm a knife maker now. I don't really review knives as much. I've not used a Manly Wasp. I've seen what other people said about it. I've not personally used it. I don't have an opinion about it. Would I spend my hard-earned money on it? I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of good knives out there. Unfortunately, I'm biased as fuck, and I don't know. I would make what I make. I don't have anything to give you, man. Do you like 3V? Not really. I don't make any knives out of it, so no. I don't like 3V. Come for the steel top, but I stay for the salt. Yeah, I'm fucking salty as fuck. Still on the lookout for a Rockstead destruction test. I'll tell you what, you pay for it, I'll break that motherfucker. Send me your money! Oh. Nice, man. You fucking happy with the Manly? It's got S90V. It's at a good deal or whatever. Like, fuck yeah, dude. K390, any love? Mike, I'm fucking carrying this thing every day. What more do you want from me, bro? Is it okay if I send it? Whoa. What do you want me to test? You want me to destruction test a fucking knockoff, or you want me to destruction test a Rockstead? Sean, open your wallet. Open your heart. Okay? What do you want me to do here? What do you want me to do here? Huh? Look, Mike. I carry this thick motherfucker all day. Okay? Look. Mike. I buy a brand new one to do a regrind on. And you're asking me if I give any love to K390. I make custom knives out of K390. What do you want from me? Do I give it love? I give it love, man. Come on. Give me a break here. I feel like you're not appreciating the love I have for K390. It's burning a hole through my chest. Give it plenty of. Hey, it's motherfucking Mike. Fuck. Mike, dude. That Rex 121 is coming tomorrow, man. Dude. I'm pretty excited for you to check out that Rex 121. That should be fucking sweet, man. Let me know. Yeah, let me know about that stone too. Fuck, I hope it comes up in one piece. I just turned that thing upside down in the stone holder and hoped it didn't break the corners and shit. But yeah, we'll see if it comes in one piece. If not, fucking whatever. It don't mean nothing. Whatever, I don't give a fuck. I sent it to you, you know. But yeah, it should be pretty sick. I put a 400 grit, edge per edge on there just because I felt it was flatter and crisper, and then I stropped it on 1 micron. You know, but if you feel the need to touch it up, just do whatever the fuck you need to do. You know, I don't give a fuck. You know, I'm the same way. I'm pretty neurotic about my edges. Like, I don't give a fuck how sharp something is. Like, if I get something, I'm always like, be sharper. And sometimes I always strop it up, you know. So edges, I feel like edges are kind of something personable. You know, I feel like as a knife maker, it's my job to make the knife really quality and thin geometry so you can choose whatever the fuck geometry you want. But, you know, Mike, I just figured it might be kind of something cool to check out. You tell me, you know, you're my judge. You know, I'm not telling you one way or another. You tell me. Hey, take it easy. Take it easy, Im. Yeah. Peace out. God, this military is so fucking cool, huh? Yeah, I think the last edge I sent you was like a 1K or something like that. Yeah. I think the last edge I sent you was like a 1K, but this edge I sent you, like I feel like as a knife person, like you're kind of in a really precarious position in that like you have to cater towards people's like expectations, and like they expect it to like be able to like push cut hair and shit like that really, really easy. But then they want the aggression to like grab and bite stuff with light touch. But for the most part, Mike, like people don't realize this is like a completely fucking inverse relationship. And like, man, it really stresses me out because I'm always like, fuck, like my whole reputation and everything relies on like meeting some person's perceived expectations about these things without understanding that these are like a completely inverse relationship. So it's like, well, fuck. I know that Rex 121, it'll be more biased towards the coarser side. And I was like, fuck. I mean, Mike's like legit with like hunting and stuff like that. You know, I've gone through like fish scales and animal hide and stuff like that, and I noticed like the edge that'll like shave you really, really good Like it'll like shave your face and all that shit. It's actually a shitty edge for actually like cutting through an animal hide and fish scales and stuff like that. You actually want something that has like more teeth on it, but you still want it at that level where it could still do some kind of push cutting. You don't really want it on one end or the other. But I thought it was something interesting to like check out the edge I put on there, especially since I've been a freehand sharpener most of my time, fucking with the Edge Pro a little bit, just checking it out. And I thought it was interesting that like the convex edges I get from freehand are a little bit more durable. The fixed angle system stuff will be a little bit more crisper but less durable. So it's like even that stuff, the geometry of your edge itself at 15 degrees per side, fuck, it's already like pick and choose. So I don't know. There's no one size fits all answer for everybody. I think that you have to understand, you have to find, first off, you have to find like the limit where you like when you're going up and up and up and up, and then all of a sudden you find the ceiling to something, and then you find another ceiling to something, and then you find the inverse relationship between things, and then from there you can truly understand what the limits are and how to really maximize synergy and performance. uh, because at the end of the day, it's like you're arguing about your favorite color. It's like you're arguing about what the best fucking food is or something like that, or the best way to cook something. Like it, it's impossible, really. I can only make the best if I know enough about the person I'm sending it to be real. You know, I can make the best for what I like, but you know, I send it to somebody else, and maybe it's like, fuck me, man. You know, it's it's intense, man. Yeah, Mac, I mean, you know, that knife. Hey, take it easy, low Q. I'll catch you next time, bro. But yeah, Mike, you know, like that knife is like 100% motherfucking handmade. You know, I'm hoping you really dig it. I think it'd be kind of cool, you know. Hang loose, bro. I think it'd be kind of cool because you got the Norplex micarta and then you got the handmade micarta, you know, and there's definitely a huge difference I feel like between those, even though they're kind of the same color. But it's kind of fucking sick. I mean, as somebody who would like buy knives or whatnot, like if I could have a custom knife with crazy geometry in K390 and a custom knife in crazy geometry in Rex 121, I would be set. Like that's it. That's all I fucking need. You know, maybe I would use something like Rex or Vancron for like something that would like have more stability and sharpenability. Maybe I could use something that like could be completely stainless. So if I like went out and I knew it was gonna like piss rain on me all fucking week, but I still wanted to go hunting anyways, like I'd be like, okay, well, I'll sacrifice some edge durability for the fact that this won't just rust on me, and I won't have to like be scared about it, you know, because this is completely rust proof. So yeah, I think, but maybe between something like Vanek Super Clean, we're talking about hunting knives. We're not talking about all knives and all purposes, blah blah blah. We're about hunting knives. But if Vanek Super Clean, uh, Vancron Super Clean, Rex 121 and K390, and maybe I would throw in, okay, wild card. Maybe I'd throw in S125V and 15V just for fucking fun. Like, I would be completely set. We're talking about blue blood. We're not talking about like, this is what you need to experience. Like, no, we're talking about like, okay, money is of no object, like the best you can possibly get in the fucking world. Like, that would be like my full setup right there. I'd be like, yes. I'd never go above 1,000 grit on them. I would strop from 1,000 grit, but I would never go to 3K on any of them. You know, I would keep them. The Vancron would have the most wiggle room to go up higher in grit finish, but only if the abrasive is hard enough and you bought a stone that has a high enough or a low enough grit finish, like 3K, 6K, 8K, 10K, but hard enough abrasive, not ceramic. And so that'd be interesting. But yeah, man. Mike, let me know when you get that knife, dude. Yeah, and I'll take care of you, man. Just please use those knives. Just fucking gun on them and all that stuff. If you want me to like sharpen them or anything like that, fucking just send them back to me, dude. You know, you want me to clean them up or anything? Just send them back to me, Mike. I appreciate you, bro. Fuck, it's so hard to find customers that actually just go out and actually use the fucking knife for what you designed it for, man. Oh, yeah. I wish I can clone you 1,000 times, bro. Yeah, oh, God, I'd be set. You know, I'd be able to make what I love, and you'd be able to like buy and use what you love. You know, it'd be match made in heaven. You know, but it's such a like small niche of something that like I can't just focus completely on that per se, but I try to, you know. Yeah, I got a 4V I'm working on right now. Yeah. Hey, take it easy, Mike. Yeah, let me know when you get that knife today. Take it easy, bro. Why do Japanese K-knives have such a good reputation in the kitchen? What are you talking? What do you mean? What do you? Yeah, take it easy, Mike. Yeah, have a good day at work, man. Let me know when you get that blade, dude. I'm fucking stoked. Yeah, if there's any issues at all, we'll check the tracking or any of that bullshit. But yeah, that's so sick, dude. Yeah, that'd be tight. One more fucking question. I'm out of here. I'm gonna go take a piss. I'm gonna go fall asleep. We're completely out of beer. Yeah, we're out of beer, man. Beer is gone. We busted down this full 6-pack. Done. Again, anything I shared in this video, just my opinion. You know, the problem with these fucking live feeds is you keep them out there, and you know, you get any and every fucking dickhead out there. You know, they'll take what you say out of context, or they hear one word, they didn't hear you finish your fucking sentence. You got on the comments, and you got some dickhead just fucking. You know, it's just a buzzkill for sure. That's why I usually just fucking fuck you guys. Like I take the live feeds down just because I just don't have the patience for it. You know. One more question. That's still for the chopper. The fucking lowest carbide, uh, lowest carbide shit you can possibly fucking get. That still has somewhat strength to it. Anything in the carbon range between, I want to say 0.60 to I don't know, dare I say 80, because we're not talking about competition choppers. We're talking about you and Bubba going out to the fucking woods and chopping through logs and shit like that without the thing ever hoping of breaking when you're batoning through the stupidest shit that the knife was never designed for. S110V, got it. Yeah, man. I mean, fuck, if you could afford a fucking chopper at S110V, I mean, I'm fucking hats off to you, dude. That's it. Take it easy. Next live feed is who the fuck knows. So take it easy, bros. I'm gonna get back to work. I gotta finish up these knives here. Next one for sale on Instagram is gonna be the CPM4V at 64 HRC, under 10 thou behind the edge, 15 degrees per side, and I'll surprise you with the handle scales I use. All right, hey guys, thank you for joining me in this live feed. Thank you for dealing with my fucking bullshit, my opinionated ass. You know, I'm super biased about what I do, what I like. You know, I appreciate you guys being patient with me, and you know, dealing with me pulling no punches when it comes to just telling you guys shit. I hope you guys can come see me at Blade Show West. I promise, in person, I'm very friendly. I'm not gonna like chew your ass or anything like that. You know, hype. Thanks, guys. Yeah, thanks for stopping in. I really appreciate it. Man, I'm gonna go take a piss. I'm gonna go pass out. So, yeah, thanks, guys. It was a blast. Thank you. Thank you for supporting me and doing this stuff. Nobody needs a fucking custom knife, but I appreciate you guys making me be able to do this for some type of living without being able to, you know, get a fucking job, you bum. Fuck off.